Hello and welcome to Season 3, Day 2 of the AEC Rainbow Six. I am and joining me tonight, Sam. How are we doing, man?
I'm good, thanks, Panda. How are you?
Good. We are kicking things off here with Group A, Insidious versus Lethality Esports. It is the start of a brand new season. There is all sorts of action ready to be played, and I'm ready to watch some good quality Rainbow Six.
So am I. And I think tonight we should see quite a good matchup between these two teams. Heard a lot of good things, and I'm just pumped for it.
Yeah, I mean, Insidious and Lethality, both orgs that have been for a little while. They've established themselves well in the amateur scene, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they can bring up head-to-head going into tonight. We also have another game after this is all said and done. It's definitely going to make for a interesting second round. Downfall versus Unrefined later on tonight. So there's plenty of action coming your way. We are heading into the map bans at least, and it will be Theme Park Cafe taken off the map. First round is Villa, something that you wanted to see tonight, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Villa because it does tend to favour the defending team, but I think it's just quite a nice map to play on. And I think if Insidious can come into this map with a proper game plan and a proper strategy, then I think they've got a decent chance to pull off a good couple of rounds.
Yeah, most definitely. It makes for some interesting strategies. You know, the way we see teams diversify things playing that vertical game. There's a lot of soft walls as well, and everything to play around. We do have Consulate and Clubhouse locked in for Outsiders, so it's going to be an interesting one to see how things go at this stage. And I do believe, if I heard correctly from our producer, it is going to be Insidious starting on the attacking side and Lethality starting off on defense.
Yep.
And I mean, Villa's such an interesting side. There's so many different play around. Where do you imagine that we are going to be heading first, Sam?
I think we'll go with the classic aviator defense first up. But depending on how our teams today choose to ban their operators, I think it will be quite a diverse attack from Insidious, that is.
Yeah, and we've seen numerous different changes to how attacking strategies work, especially with the priority over the ban. Means that hard breaching just becomes a little bit harder to play around, obviously with Cade and Bandit on the map. You've got to be a little bit smarter, and IQ has become incredibly popular being able to play through those soft floors, destroying Bandit traps and the like as well. So it will be interesting to see how that plays. There's also been an interesting adaptation into certain strategies around attack as well, and we have seen a few more Montagne bans coming out recently as people have picked it up and found new strategies that do work around it.
Yeah, I think the rise of Monty has really been popularized by Pengu playing right at the top of Pro League, and obviously has basically a massive cult following. So his use of Monty in the recent NA games, I think, will really have its impact on the community as a whole, and I'm sure we'll see some action from him tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. We are just getting the ready sorted in chat, so we'll be loading into Villa momentarily. I am excited. I'm very glad to be back casting Rainbow Six again. This is very, very new to me, but so I'm a big fan of what it offers in terms of viewer experience and obviously the stuff we get to see. But we are getting straight into it. I'm super excited, Sam. We are going to kick things off. Bans coming through. Who are we going to see taken off? They're definitely taking their time, though. I mean, traditionally, we're seeing a lot of Thatcher priority.
Yeah.
Depending on how both these teams are strategized, there's usually priority around Mira being banned in terms of the defense. And there we go. Thatcher straight off the bat.
So that will make the attack a bit more interesting for Insidious, having to rely mainly on Maverick to remove out those Bandit CDs and obviously Kai's Electric Claws if taken. So they really have to be careful. And now seeing the Blackbeard ban from Insidious. Interesting one there.
Yeah, it's not something I would have expected. Blackbeard traditionally sort of avoided, I mean, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, it's great to have that shield denying the initial headshot, but he doesn't offer it nearly as much as certain other operators. And Goya, a pretty standard one for a map like this. We have seen a number of players excel when picking up their Goya, especially down classical hallway, can make it a real nuisance trying to get in and around, maneuver around those Bernie shields, which he does like to drop, and so it'll be interesting to see who they opt to take away finally. Usually there's a little bit priority around Miro, but there have been, certain teams that are looking for the Echo, which is another standard one, that bomb plant denial. So the Mirror has been left available. It does make room for some interesting setups around defense, but I mean, traditionally when you're seeing it banned out, teams don't necessarily seem to strategize around it, so it can just be left in the wind.
Yeah. I think the Goyu ban here from Insidious will be is a very crucial pick for them because, as Get Flanked said, Goyu acts as a utility, so he's got 3 shields that all need to be dealt with, or the attacking team is at risk of being pretty severely damaged or killed from them. And it's just an easy way to soak up Ash charges and Zophia's impact grenades. Speaking of which, we will see her picked by Insidious, the 6th pick from Lethality, though, from Ella to Bandit.
Some pretty standard stuff all around. Maestro, incredibly popular on this map. Those Evil Eyes doing absolute work in terms of dealing with not only rotation information gathering as well, but again, that bombs plant denial. And it looks like we'll be upgrading off a split site start as Hyper has taken down Danstick straight away.
Perhaps he's AFK. Who knows what's going on there? Either way, this first round will be starting off with a 5v4 in favour of Insidious. Interesting that we see the trophy defense first up instead of Aviator.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a bit of a read there. Traditionally will opt to start on that Aviator side. So maybe they're looking to mix things up a bit, catch their opponents off guard here, because there are so many different strategies you can play around off the split side.
Yeah. As we go into the start of the round here, interesting as well to note that Insidious have chosen to bring a Jackal instead of one of the more traditional picks in the Gridlock or the Maverick on this map.
Yeah, I mean, you've got multiple different ways to deal with rotators. Jackal is one of them. Obviously, that Gridlock does negate a lot of the potential for roams here around that Bandit, around the Jaeger as well. But placing down those little traps of hers, they spread so insanely fast if not contained, and there's a lot of information gathered when people try and destroy them. Obviously, you've got to shoot them, break them. There's so many noise cues that you can pick off of the back of that it does make it quite dangerous to play around. But yeah, it does similar things in the grand scheme of it.
Yeah. So TVXC here, just pushing in, already peaking, early peak here in the bathroom.
Yeah, we already see they've entered the building on the top. They are getting that information down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some droning and then that aggressive push, which has been the style for a lot of teams. Gather that information and then sort of just swarm onto site as we see things evened up here as the trade does come out. Sparks being taken down. There's Sundere getting another one onto Kinger as well. A double kill earlier on in this round. C4 going out, and they aren't going to be able to get anything off the back of it. The Bandit now down a bit of utility here. They get the down 2, and it will be another kill picked up. 2 versus 4. What looked like a pretty solid attack comeback after those initial kills has been foiled. Sundere doing a huge amount of work right here. It is Orbit as well, sitting in position to potentially contest this jump over the shield as well.
Yeah, both teams very keen to show off how aggressive and what sort of pace they're going to play this game at. I mean, we still have well over a minute left in this round, which, as I think most of you will know, is a long time in Rainbow Six Siege, and yet it's already down to a 2v4. So it will be interesting to see what Insidious can pull off here to try and save the round.
Yeah, and we see the drones coming out looking for that information. They are just outside that window as well. Going to be looking for some of these tight angles, trying picking someone off. And I'm surprised we saw this level of... They pushed in quite early. You usually see a lot of teams hesitating, waiting things out. There is an angle being held here. Might be able to get another kill to ping that out. They know someone is there, and it is down to Apples with that ACOG on top of his big gun to try and pick it up. No, they're just going to wait it out. The rotate coming up, but Jackal has picked up the Bandit. Hyper has been scouted out, so it will be down to whether or not he can sort of out-rotate or even bait it out, and Hyper does go down, having been scouted. We are seeing shots flying left and right as that barbed wire will be dropped. They have managed to get their way onto the bomb site. It is TVC there. They also have the support from Apples. 13 seconds left, and it is all getting close. They're running in. The smoke being dropped. Orbit is gone. It's now a 2v2. The bomb is being planted here. A bit of lag, and I can't quite see what's going on. We're coming into the dying seconds of the round. Smoke going out there. Then it is just coming in, but it is Salty picking up the kill, denying the plant, and it will be Lethality taking round 1.
Yeah, I think if that round is any indication of our matchup tonight, Panda, I think we can expect a fantastic match. Lethality went into that round already a man down, didn't have that intel from the Valkyrie, and yet we saw them clutch it out and really just foil what looked like quite a disorganized attack from Insidious, to be honest.
I mean, there was potential for that round to go either way, going to later stages, and unfortunately, they just weren't covering their own, and as a result, it does mean that defenders pick up that first round, and it's kind of disparaging, obviously, being able to get into the site in a position where they had that level of aggression that they could hold the site and just not being able to watch each other's backs, because obviously in a 2v2, you are just going to struggle that little bit, and yeah, it was just real rough. Salty being able to pick that one up does mean that they secure it, and you saw it at the end. They were feeling a bit rough. The Insidious just sort of staring there as the teammate went down, unfortunately.
Yeah. So as we come into our second round and that win at Trophy, the expected play, the expected defense is now Aviator. They haven't brought the Amira though to place on that study wall, just purely relying on Bandit to ward off those exothermic charges from Thermite.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those operators that banned out time and time again. So I'm not surprised at all that we don't see teams picking into that mirror, especially, you're not building strats around it if you're not getting to play it. So it'll just be left alone. They go with what they know, which is always going to be the smart play.
Yeah. Orbit here taking the Legion, proving how irrelevant these sort of hybrid intel and trap operators are, even after his pretty significant nerf not too long ago. He's just able to cover so much ground and waste so much of the attacker's time with really, really no effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's the name of the game is that information gathering, as we see that window in observatory being blown open, and there's a lot of information that is on the line here, especially if they can figure out some of these tight angles, figure out where the defenders are sitting, because on a map like this you can sit in some crazy spots and pick up kills, especially in and around that statue area too. The spray's coming out, and Hyper just getting away there. Does have the potential to drop down that hatch if need be. So there's a lot of road potential set up by the defenders here.
Yeah, and we saw that last round as well. Hyper was running around Aviator, playing 90, and wasted a fair bit of Insidious's time, which may or may not have contributed to that end result of last round. We'll see it now, though. Hyper still playing on 90 as Danstick manages to get the shot off onto TVCX.
Which is that Jackal, which is going to be a large idea. Not being able to pick up those rotators with those footsteps is going to be huge. But they still have the gridlock online, so if they want to deny the rotate potential, it is there. They've just got to set up onto the site if they can get there. And Hyper is sitting reasonably low. Danstick looking for the angle, does find someone. Spray goes out, but it is not enough. Sparked picking that one up. IQ sitting just below half as a result of that. It was a pretty messy spray out of Danstick. There's another trade coming in. Sundere taking down another. Sparked being dropped off the back of it. Sundere finding another double kill going into this round. A 2v4. Now the defenders again in a pretty healthy spot. We saw this last round, but Sundere triple will get control over the diffuser as well, and Salty cleans it out once again.
What a round, I think. Again, Lethality proving that they can defend Villa so well. We saw no one was watching those main stairs, and Viega was just able to push up and get 3 picks off of Insidious. And I think that's something, especially when you bring these roam denial operators like really something that should be covered, and it led to another round being lost by Insidious.
Yeah, I mean, Sundere definitely proving he is a force to be reckoned with here. A double in the first round, a triple in the second. What can this man do? What can they do to stop this man? He's definitely on a roll. If given that level of room to move, we could easily see him pulling out a clean ace later in this game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Insidious again for the third round in a row. Actually, no, sorry, the second round in a row. They've switched out the gridlock, switched out the Nomad and brought a gridlock instead. Pretty similar uses between those two.
No, it is the Nomad locked in, so unfortunately not gridlock again. They've opted back.
a lot of back and forth between these two ops.
Yeah, I mean, they both offer similar, both offer similar things in terms of gadgets. I think the biggest benefit of the Gridlock is, the amount of area that she can zone out with those traps, whereas Nomad, I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you do get that air jab off, guarantees the kill. So it's sort of the difference between zone potential and crowd control.
Yeah.
As we are seeing those those cameras being dropped by the Valkyrie, trying to get as much information as possible, set up for the best defense possible now that we are on the dining room site as well, which is an interesting one. Playing that vertical game too, we see a lot of roam set up here. It is going to be the Jaeger and the Maestro upstairs, Salty and Sundere. And it is Sundere, that operator, that we want to be watching, because the guy's had a stellar performance so far. If he can keep it up, he can quite easily carry his team through the later stages of this defense side.
Yeah. Insidious here, continuing with that same sort of pace that they've shown already, really moving fast. We see that TVCX is already into that closet. They're really determined to take top floor control quickly, and whether or not that will be their downfall, I think will be up to the Jaeger roaming upstairs.
Yeah, most definitely. TVC already on, looking for those stairs in Observatory as well. Will get the utility denial out there, taking down the Jaeger ADC. And they're so close to being able to find someone. Does see the Hyper there, almost taking his head clean off. He's so very low. Unfortunately, TVC not able to pick up that kill. We see the rotate coming in. The spray coming out of Sundere has found his first kill. Will just drop down the hatch, and that is the rotate potential given there. We see the explosions being dropped. Breach charge used there by Spark to try and gain some sort of vision. Open up those lines of sight, try and find a pick, as they are also playing that vertical game as well, trying to play top down, because, being able to breach those soft floors. Jackal, the big Jackal man, is trying to gather some vision there. Has spotted out Hyper as well, who has been healed up a bit by Damstick, and this round is shaping up to be the exact same out of Insidious, and it looks like it might even work.
Yeah, I think, 3 rounds in, and they can see the roaming potential that Lethality are bringing to the table. And yet they just still are not watching their flanks. I haven't seen any track stingers, as we see Hyper gets the Nitrocell onto Sparks. Now less than a minute left, and there's a distinct man advantage again to Lethality, even though Hyper is down at half health. Yeah,
we're coming into crunch time. It'll be interesting to see if they can translate. Trading out there. Spray coming through from Redmeister is able to pick up the kill on a Salty, which is that Maestro, which is going to be a huge amount of bomb plant deterrent off the map right now. It is a 3v2. Danstick picking up the kill onto Apples. It is all down to Redmeister playing into 3, and we've already seen Sundere playing out of his mind so far. I think he's going to be hard-pressed to find the sprays coming out there on the table. Has found Hyper low, but will actually get saved there by Sundere, who picks himself up another one.
Jeez, Sundere is just popping off at the moment. He is running around the map, wasting time, and getting those all-important picks. And as it is, Insidious just haven't been able to put any points on the board. And I think mainly because of the work that Sundere has been doing.
I mean, this man is just putting his team on the shoulders right now. Lee is just, it's insane just how much he's been able to achieve here. As, sitting there top of the scoreboard, a good 4 kills clear of the next highest, which is Salty and TVC right now. 7-1-0, has not dropped at all during this first half. And we are seeing things back to normal. Pretty standard stuff in terms of operators picked. In fact, almost an exact mirror. I believe it is, minus that... No, yeah, it is. They did switch straight up. It's same comps exactly, as we are heading back to Trophy Room and Statutory.
Yeah. Now, Insidious, do we think that they will try to attack it a bit differently? We saw last time that they pushed quite quickly into bedroom, but just weren't watching their corners properly and got caught out by the timer. So will they try something different? Will they push from the south? Yet to be seen.
I mean, I've got to wonder, maybe they're not necessarily using their full potential there. That you want to be able to get as much information before you are heading in for your aggressive plays here. We traditionally have seen Insidious getting into the building first and then using those drones. So it is pretty aggressive and pretty accelerated in terms of what we're seeing from a lot of teams, as we see rotate holes being set up here by Salty into Observatory as they play around that bomb, and a pretty good spread. We might see some shenanigans here from the Doc. Danstick sitting in a pretty aggressive position by that fireplace. Could be looking for some early aggression, as it is TVC, again, looking to get into the building quite early.
Alrighty. We, not much going on at the moment. Insidious instead choosing to perhaps check their angles a bit more instead of rushing straight up to that master bedroom. Sandere again playing the heavy roam down on that main stairs, wreaking havoc, and Insidious will really have to keep an eye out for him, otherwise they just cannot get a round win.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has just been the bane of Insidious' existence so far, as we see. Yeah, they are in the building already. This time, though, they are playing from down below, looking to come in on that first floor and try and figure out where things are. It's a different strategy that we're seeing from usually. We see a lot of attacking teams play top-down, but this is a bit different, as we see Sandere has found the first kill onto TVC. The lead fragger for Insidious is now completely gone. It is also the roam potential being denied here. All they've got left is Red Meister being able to set that up. They're looking aggressively. Kinga trying to find someone, is going to be sprayed down. He is dropped. Has teammates potentially there for the pickup, but so is the Valk, so is the Maestro. Salty in orbit in position, and unfortunately for Red Meister, Salty cleaning up that one with that huge machine gun, but will get traded out by Kinga.
Yeah, coming up to the pointy end of the round again, and Insidious just cannot gain access to the site. Thermite is still alive. There still is the option to pull off that exothermic charge and go for a plan. But as it is, I'm sounding like a bit of a broken record, but Lethality have the man advantage.
Yeah, Danstick aggressively lying on the floor there. The attacker was there trying to blow open the wall. He's still there as the exothermic charge going out. He's looking for the sneaky angle, as I believe he was pinged out. Sparked being traded, and it is Danstick pulling off that play. The air jab, knocking him prone. Will just get back up, looking for the rotate in behind the attackers here. Kinga on the stairs. Apples looking there. Orbit picks up Kinga's one left. Apples get trade onto Danstick, and he will be cleaned up by the man, the myth, the legend, Sandere, getting himself another kill going into this game.
Whether or not it's the power of that beautiful black ice on the 416, Sandere has, he's just not stopping.
He's channeling all sorts of alpha energy right now. It's round 5, and I mean, when it works, it works. Why switch things out? Let Sandere play the way he's playing and carry on being a thorn in the side of Insidious right now. We do see a bit of a change up. Umaru is there. They're going to hover it, see what we're taking for 6-pick. Ash, potentially for Kinga here. Nomad is being hovered there as well. They've got a huge amount of rotate potential. A lot of respect being played to Sandere right now.
Yeah, interesting as well. Orbit bringing the Frost, potentially just to try and secure Study a bit further. So we'll see how Insidious attack this now, and whether or not they can get any sort of points in this first half of the match.
Yeah, we are heading into the games room. So they are setting up their defense. And I'm not surprised we're seeing the Frost at all right now. The way that Insidious have been playing is so aggressive, getting into the building nice and early into these rounds. With those traps, you know, the way the acceleration with which they've been playing, you might overlook something like a Floss Mat and then get cleaned up, unfortunately, as we are seeing it utilized with those deployable shields as well. All sorts of shenanigans set up here. Those traps can be hugely detrimental to attacking sites.
Yeah, we'll see now. Danstick, just sat there and study. He's not really too fussed. He's got a nice little nook to hide in.
Well, this is where we saw him go previously when this site was played. He's looking for the sneaky play, which traditionally does work. You know, attackers will aggressively push, looking for those standard positions where they expect to be seeing defenders. And I mean, when it's somewhere that you're not expecting to see someone, 9 times out of 10, that's where they are. They've done the research, figured out where people are looking, and if you're not expecting something, that's when things go horribly wrong, as we see Sparked has been downed and is desperately looking at his teammates to try and get some help, but I think they're safe right now.
Yeah. And it's just the same thing over and over again. I know that teams will often practice the same strategies using similar operators, but I think you could replay the last couple of rounds and Insidious's attack would just be exactly the same. Look to take control of master bedroom and bathroom and try to take the objective from there. Now we see Sandere again picking off the Jackal on Astro Stairs. Just wasting time, which is all you need to do as the defensive team in this game.
I mean, this guy has been incredibly consistent. These opening taking time and time again. The dominance is actually unbelievable out of this man on the Jaeger right now. Redmeister picks himself up a kill there onto Hyper. That Gridlock doing a bit of damage now, securing his second kill, as we are going to see a bit of that vertical play coming out. Danstick just sitting there jiggling, looking for these angles, looking for the headshots in that study where he has been almost the entirety of the round. Going back to classics, and it will be Redmeister looking to spray, switching over to Spark, and he does get picked up by Besundere. A double kill for him, and he is looking for more. There are multiple enemy operators that he could be looking for off down classic, and we see Danstick picks up Kinga at 4v2 again. Advantage to Lethality in terms of numbers. We've seen this situation time and time again, Sam.
Yeah. As we see now, poor Redmeister is left in a 1v4 after Salty uses that massive ult to take out apples. He's going to push up the back stairs now, but he's not going to have many options. He doesn't have the diffuser, goes for the shots, and does get the pick on Salty now. 30-odd seconds left as you see the track stingers go out. He's going to have to come up with something wonderful to clutch it out here.
Yeah, I mean, Gridlock's got some big shoulders, but you've got to wonder if they are big enough to secure this round. 3, it did start up as a 1v4. He has thrown those stingers out as well, so the zone potential is there, but there's so few avenues on the side, and it is Sundere! He comes in and cleans it up in round 5.
3 letters for you. MVP. I think that's the only way to describe him.
I could almost change that to 1v5 rather than MVP, because it feels like right now Sundere is putting on a clinic on how to play this Jaeger. 5-0 going into round 6. What can be done by Insidious here?
Well, we're actually seeing their first proper operator change-up since the start of this match, bringing the Hibana instead of the Thermite and the Maverick instead of the Jackal. Will be interesting to see how they can adapt their attack.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the strategy is to just slow it down with that Maverick. Be a little bit sneakier, burn through some of those peak holes and set up kills that way. The level of aggression that they've been bringing so far into this game it's obvious. Has resulted in 5 rounds in a row for Lethality, and playing at this level and having a result like that's got to be hugely demoralizing. It's good to see that they have adapted their strategy in this situation, and it'll be interesting to see if it can work going into the 6th round.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about game pace so far, and I think that is probably where Insidious is struggling. We saw it straight away in the first round. They wanted to play fast, and it didn't work out for them because Lethality expected that. And all this match, they've just been playing right into the hands of Lethality, more specifically Sandere.
Yeah, I mean, 12-2-0 right now. He's got the exact same amount of kills as the rest of the team combined and has yet to die. That is an outstanding performance so far. As we are in kitchen, we are seeing that vertical play coming out once again. The rotations there, Sundere looking to just pad the stats really at this stage, as it is going to be that top-level play starting out in Orbit. Picks up the first kill onto Spark, which is the IQ. That is the gadget denial that was coming out of this attacking side. So there's so much information lost off the back of that shot.
Yeah. Lethality here just really relying on their roamers, Hyper and Xandere, and now Orbit as well with the Legion. Just relying on them to get those picks and slow down the attackers, and it's worked. You know, you look at the scoreboard, and whatever Lethality are doing, it is working really well. As we see, TVC gets the pick off onto Hyper. That's the Bandit down now. Less than 2 minutes left. Shots come out. Spraying down 90 hallway. Poor Danzig is all trapped. He gets thrown out, and he knows he has at least 2 attackers on him as TVC gets the pick. Insidious finally getting the upper hand, Panda.
Yeah, most definitely, and they are in an advantageous spot right now. They have been in positions where they can take the round, but it just really hasn't panned out. Now, this is the best opportunity them going into round 6. They find themselves in a 4v3. They still have potential for that hard breach. They've got Maverick online. They've got the rotate denial in Redmeister's Nomad as well. They have King out for that soft breach, and it could be the tool they need to get back into this round. Salty is still alive, so is Orbit, but the big man, Sundere, is still alive, has yet to die in this game so far, and I wouldn't imagine that he's willing to give up without a fight, so we could see him go big here. TBC picks up his third of the round, the triple on that big bully, that Maverick that he has picked up, transitioning from the Jackal. So obviously that change has been a big turning point going into round 6.
Yeah, as we see Sundere actually playing in the sight of Rarity, but he does get taken out by King, as this is it now. 4v1 for Insidious. The plant goes down. Orbit is left all by himself to try and clutch out the round for his team.
Yeah, and unfortunately, first death for Sundere there. It is all down to Orbit on this Legion, and there's 4 targets from takedown. He gets the first. That is Kinga down, the one who has done the most work in this round. A bit of damage traded there, unfortunately. He's trying to watch 2 different angles at once, but he can't do it. He's one man. There's only 23 seconds left for him to get in and defuse. He's trying to get in, goes through the door. He's looking for this angle here. He's trying to slow things down. They are droning him out, trying to spray through the soft wall. Almost finds that peak. Spray coming out through the door. It is not enough. TVC goes aggressive, and it is going to be Insidious's first round. That pistol headshot picking up their first win.
And I think TVC, they're really showing his strength. As soon as we saw that switch from the Jackal to the Maverick, the tides turned. Before we knew it, Insidious had the upper hand. So now, as they move on to defense, can they keep up this momentum that they've just started to build?
Yeah, exactly. The real question, though, the tides may have turned, but it is enough to tide this way, or turn the tide of battle, as it were, I suppose, as we are going to be looking ahead straight to Aviator Games for our first sight. A bit of a change from what we've seen so far. TVC has picked up the Mozzie, King Art playing that Vigil. It's a little bit different from what we've seen, and it would be interesting to see if they can turn this into further wins going into this half. But Buck picked up for Hyper. Sundere on that Ash, the aggressive pushing operator. It will be interesting to see if he can get himself more kills.
Absolutely, Panda. So we'll see now as we load in just exactly how Insidious plan to defend, plan to potentially hold off Sundere, as you said, who's just playing so aggressive today.
I mean, you gotta feel bad for Sparked, honestly, in all of this. Having seen the Sundere 3 in round 1, you know, Sparked, is he going to be able to live up and match that reputation so far on this Jaeger? It's got to be a bit rough.
Yeah.
And we are seeing some interesting positioning of obviously the ADC there, trying to deny the utility out of this attacking side. And that 9 seconds left in the drone phase. They seem to have found themselves a decent amount of information. I was watching where some of those drones were headed, trying to get themselves some establishment around the map. As we see King are looking for maybe a bit of a spawn peak. It is the Vigil there, so he is going to be moving quickly, looking for the heads over that wall there, but he's not really going to be able to find anything, as no attacking operators have spawned over that side. And it's a bit of a waste of time, all said and done, as we see the attackers already looking to get aggressive down in the basement. Sundere, he's just running up main stairs. He's heading up to that top floor as well. He has found the wooden barricade. He's looking into sight onto the Aviator, and he is looking for the spray, but it's not enough. Redmeister actually taking that entry frag on this first round of defense. Sundere, it was not great.
Not sure what happened there. I think if I were a betting man, I would have put my money on Sundere winning that gunfight. But he just seemed to shoot everywhere but the head of Redmeister. Did manage to get a peek though. Redmeister sitting around 70 health. Still 2 minutes left in the round. Lots of time for Lethality to pull out something amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this level of aggression from the attackers in terms of what Insidious brought to the game. And it was heavily punished by Lethality, and it'll still be potentially the same out of Insidious on the defense now. We see those Kairos being used there, as it will be. TVC picking up the next kill, 5-3 right now in favor of the defenders, and That is also Salty Down, who's been instrumental in this bit. Danstick picks up a kill. Kinga trading out onto Orbit. Another kill by Danstick onto Sparked, and it is now 3v2. Things evening up. And just behind the bar is that head of apples. That is the Maestro gone now, and things are even up once again. So what looked like a great round for Insidious has been completely diminished, and we find ourselves back in a 2v2.
I think it all started with Xandere getting picked off right at the start. Big confidence killer. Xandere being their top fragger. Yet to see, though, whether or not Insidious will be able to hold Lethality off as TVC gets lit up. Hyper very low now. Playing for time, they don't have the diffuser. The grenade comes out, but Kingers rushes Hyper and gets him. Danstick left alone now to clutch it, gets the pick onto TVC, but Kingers gets the flank off.
He was on a quad kill. Danstick denied that by Kingers, who came in from behind and picked that one up. Unfortunately there for TVC, he was used as a bit of bait. And it does work, It gets them their second round, but it's got to be a bit demoralizing to have your teammate use you to secure a kill.
Yeah, and I think no matter how good a player you are, there's nothing you can do when you're looking at you. And so we will see the trophy defense now from Insidious.
Yeah, and they're appropriating a different response here on defense at Castle. Here they are going to switch for the Jaeger, but this is the first time we've seen the Castle in this game. Amaru being switched out. They're no longer to be running that Hibana. So again, more aggression out of this attacking side. Hyper potentially looking to get aggressive early on as Danstick. I mean, he was huge in that last round, proving that it is not just Sundere with the potential to carry this game for Lethality, and we're getting in the droning phase. What would you expect to see going into this round out of Lethality now?
I think they will try to match the level of roaming that we saw Lethality bringing on the defense. They've got an operator selection that would be suited to roaming with the Jaeger, with the Bandit, with the Vigil, who by his nature is designed to roam. Interesting though, they didn't bring the Maestro. We talked about that at the start of the match, how Maestro is crucial in gathering intel and denying that bomb plan. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Maestro's been touted as one of probably the best defense operators on the map, and we see a bit of aggression. Kinga looking for another spawn peak as we are just starting up this round. He's looking for someone just rappelling up. Has found the head of Salty off the bat. That is the hard breach gone for Lethality here, and it didn't work in that first round, but it definitely worked in the second one.
Indeed it has. So now the majority of this round will be played a man down for Lethality. We see Hyper with the Amaru very, very aggressive, already taken 90 and looking to start pushing trophy. TVC certainly trying to match the playstyle of Xandere, playing that heavy roam with the Jaeger.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, they've got the IQ online spray going down. Xandere picked this half as he was dropped reasonably early in the last two rounds. And I mean, it potentially could be the signs that he has figured things out. I mean, that spray on that we saw from the Ash wasn't the best, as we see Orbit picking up TVC, who got baited out by the drone there. And TVC was the one thing that was really holding this Insidious side together in the last few rounds. Downstick found another kill there. And Sophia putting in absolute work. That is the Legion gone, so no more extra goo mines. As we see a spray coming down from the prone apples there, but Hyper trades him out while being stuck in the thick of things. And Danstick picks that one up. Redmeister dropping the last line of defense. It was not enough, and unfortunately, we don't see the third round coming out for this after this half.
Yeah. People are talking often about how Villa is so defender-sided, but I think Lethality have shown there that if you can play your cards right, and if you are patient and you play for those picks, that you can pull off a win, especially on a site like Trophy, which we usually see go in favor of the defending Orange team.
Yeah, on the screen now you see Kinga with that early peak, picking up Salty in the initial couple of minutes of that round. It really wasn't enough, despite having that early advantage. They quite easily got swept up by Lethality there, as we are going to see a bit of a change up. It's not Salty playing that Thermite anymore. They've switched it over to Hyper, and it's going to be Maverick coming out for this Lethality side. Tsundere on the IQ once again. I can only imagine we're going to see him stay on form for the rest of this game, which potentially could not be very long.
Yeah, as we move into match point now, Lethality are up 6 points to Insidious's 2. And we see, for the second round in a row now, a trophy defense for Insidious, bringing again the Castle, the Mozzie, the Legion, the Bandit, and the Jaeger.
I mean, that Mozzie has been instrumental in playing that position. Being able to get drones of your own in defense is kind of low-key overpowered, all said and done. Being able to scout out the attackers from a nice defensible position, hiding somewhere in some nook and cranny. So it's like a bit of camera, let's be honest. But, I mean, they're setting up, they're ready to go. 4 seconds left in this information gathering stage. We still see multiple drones still alive for the attackers here. Action phase has ended. It doesn't look like we're going to see that, again, the level of aggression that we saw out of King R in the first 2 rounds of this half. And he's going to play it a bit safe this time, considering how poorly last round went, despite picking up that initial kill.
Yeah. So we can see here, Tsundere again showing his aggressive nature and pushing with his fellow fragger Orbit, trying to take study, perhaps execute a push from the south side of this Villa map.
Yeah, I mean, Tsundere, the guy's blood must run thick with monster energy and testosterone. The guy is just consistently looking for fights and winning them. He's 13-4-2. He has faltered a wee bit going into the second half, but I mean, on that first half, he just was in control from the start to the end, despite losing that last round. It is Salty in position. He's going to start burning through this wall as he does almost get taken out there. Danstick getting the initial frag in this round onto Sparks. That is the Legion again down early on. No extra goo mines going to be coming out from them. The diffuser, it is quite close there, as we will see the burning continue here from Salty on that Maverick. The C4 landing onto Danstick though, so that is the Sophia gone now. That is the concussion and the soft breaches being taken out, as we will see Orbit picking up a kill onto TBC. Again, that top fragger for this Insidious side, and they're dealing with the roam quite cleanly here, as it is King R in position on that bomb site, sitting behind the blue suitcase there. Another explosion coming out. It is Redmeister. They're playing a lot of prone angles right now.
Yeah, as we see that ever-present clock tick further down, Insidious have the upper hand. As I say that, Redmeister gets the pick off onto Tsundere, and the diffuser's now stuck inside. 1 minute left to pull something off here. The Maverick trick hasn't quite gone to plan, but that wall is still soft with Salty quite low.
Yeah, they've still got Orbit there as well on the Ash, so they can potentially blow it open if they need to. It is just going to be spraying shots through, trying to pick up whoever is on the statuary site. And I mean, they have the angles there, and it is almost a clean pickup onto Hyper. He does just survive. Apple's just sitting there doing absolute work out of this round. They're delaying things out 35 seconds, and unfortunately, they have run straight into the line of sight of Hyper, who gets himself a double. That is Apple's, and unfortunately, Redmeister now off the board. It is up to King R, who has been playing spectacularly in this half. The spray's going out, gets the double. Unfortunately, it is Salty to clean things up. They take round 9. Lethality just in control from start to finish of this game.
Absolutely. And as we can see here, Tsundere MVP for the match, and well-deserved. Definitely fell off his horse in those final attacking rounds, but instrumental in Lethality's overwhelming success in those first defensive rounds.
Well, I mean, he did the initial work. He built the momentum up for his team. As we see Danstick there, 11-1-6 going towards the end of things. And he did bring things back quite well. He got himself a in the second half, so quite clean. He, Tsundere builds the momentum. His team then carries things over the finish line. That is the first game of this series. We do have another map coming up very soon. So, I mean, it's definitely been an interesting one. I mean, after that, Sam, how are you feeling?
I think my adrenaline is just absolutely pumping, Panda. We saw that what Insidious are capable of in those 2 rounds that they did win, they won decisively. There wasn't any mucking about. So going into the next map, which will be actually Lethality's pick.
Yeah, we will have some replays up on the screen for you in a little bit, just so you can see how dominant Lethality were on Villa. It was a commandeering performance. I mean, you know, that level of aggression that we saw coming out of Insidious early was so heavily punished by Sundre, who on that Jaeger was just taking heads off left, right, and center. He picked up a couple of triples, a couple of doubles in that initial half, and I mean, they were able to pick up that last round of the first half Insidious, but you know, they didn't pick up any real momentum. They got themselves another one, but ultimately we saw how it went, and as you can see, just danced in the second half, put some big work in, despite, you know, having a rough first half.
Yeah, we saw him playing that Zofia again and again, and it just kept on working. He was able to find those picks with that very powerful assault rifle. And up next, we will see these 2 teams battle it out on Consulate.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be an interesting watch. You know, can Lethality maintain this level of aggression and control around the map going into Consulate? I mean, we've got to wait. What we'll do is we'll throw a quick break. We've got to get ourselves refreshed, give the players a bit of time to get ready, plan what they're going to be doing in the first couple of rounds, build up the momentum. So what we'll do is we'll throw a quick break and we'll bring you back with all that Consulate action. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the AEC Rainbow Six Minor League. We are in Season 3, Day 2. We are looking at Group 1. We've just finished our first game of the series between Insidious and Lethality. And Lethality took a commanding game on Villa. And, I mean, Sam, that was such a great performance out of Sundre on the defense side. And now we see Lethality opting for that attack start going into Consulate. Can they maintain that level of aggression and success going into this map?
Really quite hard to say, Panda. I mean, Villa and Consulate as maps aren't very similar. There are, I think, Consulate being a very, very old map, you know, basically a vanilla map. It's a lot more sort of set structure in the way that the attackers tend to approach the sites. So Lethality, I think, they'll probably stick with what we've seen before.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, there's a lot of soft breach potential going into the basement level. I've seen Garage can make for some interesting things, especially playing around the yellow stairs. And obviously, there's all sorts of different lines of sight that can be established in the early stages of the game. But we saw Sundre have a spectacular performance on defense. Now they're on attack. We saw him struggle a wee bit. And could this be potentially what Insidious needs to take this to a map 3?
Possibly. We'll see TVC starting on defense, and he sort of followed in the footsteps of Zandere, playing that Jaeger, playing that heavy roam, going for those picks. Didn't work out quite as well for TVC, but hopefully on Consulate, bit bigger map, more levels to play on. I think he'll be able to perhaps put a stop to Lethality's reign of terror.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, you saw on the replays that were just on your screen, Dan Stick, a bit of an unsung hero for this Lethality lineup. Despite all the work that was put in the first half by Sundre, it was really Dan Stick that stood out in the attacking side for Lethality. He picked himself up almost a clutch ace there. He got the quad and then got denied at that last kill. So, I mean, maybe it looks like the rest of Lethality are warmed up. We could see an incredibly one-sided match. I mean, not to say that the last map wasn't, but we could see a complete shutout going into map 2.
Yeah, and especially considering as well that Villa was Insidious's pick, if I am led to believe. This will be interesting to see how well they've prepared for Consulate and whether or not they can stave off that ever-aggressive Zandere pushing with the IQ and the Ash.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I said at the very, very start, I am looking forward to some exciting Rainbow Six, and we definitely got that already. And yeah, it was Consulate that was Lethality's pick. They picked attack off the bat as well. So I can only imagine they've got some strats laid out here. We could see some fun and interesting stuff, but we are hitting ban phase. So that is going to be interesting to see what we opt to take off the board. I mean, they denied away the Thatcher, which is pretty standard. And again, it is going to be that first ban here for Insidious. What are we going to see on the other side of things? There's so many different denial tools that you can take away here. Do they go for that? They might deny that hard breach. Do they? These are all sorts of potential. They banned out the Blackbeard last time. I'm not sure quite how effective that is, and I would imagine it was an incredibly targeted ban there. But they are dragging things out, and it's going to be that Blackbeard.
Yeah. So that was Lethality's pick there, and they'll choose again now to ban the first defensive operator. Taking their time. Once again, might see that mirror ban. However, I'm probably leaning more towards Echo ban for Lethality. We'll see.
It's the Valkyrie. And again, more information denial here. Not being able to have those Val cams set up around Consulate is going to be huge. So it is going to become that much harder for the defenders to figure out where things are. It will be Insidious playing that defense in the first round. Echo is probably going to be the ban, and it will be that bomb plant denial. So it's a little bit harder. That Yokai is an absolute pain in the neck when it comes into those final seconds of the round. It does force those mistakes as well, knowing that potentially at any second, this very desperate bomb plant could be denied. So it's a pretty standard ban out of both teams. We are going to be starting off in Cafeteria Garage. So downstairs is going to be very, very fun.
Redmeister bringing the Clash, quite an unexpected pick. Rainbow Six Siege in general does not support Clash, let alone...
The real question, are we talking about the community or the programming? Because at this stage it could be either.
Yeah, I think both, to be honest. So will Redmeister 6th pick away from Clash? If not, well... should be very interesting.
I mean, shield operators are a source of a huge amount of frustration on both sides of these maps, and it will be Doc, Legion, Bandit, Clash, and Jaeger picked up for the defense side. Meanwhile, on the attack, it'll be Maverick, IQ, Zofia, Ash, and Buck. Some pretty standard stuff. They've got the breach potential. And I mean, it's pretty standard when that Thatcher is denied away. Maverick is the go-to, being able to burn out the supports on these reinforced walls. It's a way around it, and it's a pretty interesting strategy that we have seen evolve after, Thatcher became a priority target.
Absolutely. I think that was definitely Ubisoft's intention when they added him into the game in the Grim Sky DLC. They wanted a Thatcher 2.0. They wanted someone else because Thatcher was being banned in Pro League. So we'll see now. King is appearing to go for a spawn peek onto the gas station spawn. We'll see how he uses that ACOG on Dog's MP5.
We've seen it work once. We've seen it attempted a couple of times. He's going for the run out here. Will just jump back in. He was detected, so they know that the potential is going to be there. The King are pulling out some shenanigans. It won't work this time, but that's how it started in the last map. It didn't work the first time. The second time, though, it was incredibly effective, and they were able to take the head off of Salty.
Yeah. Now, Consulate is a map of windows. You can see their TVC right up in the connector hallway, peeking with that very powerhouse 416. As an attacker, you just have to be careful approaching. Even once you're in the building, there are so many opportunities for spawn peeks and rise. As we see Kingers getting the pick onto Zandere, the top frag of Lethality getting taken out.
The MVP of last game for sure, at least in the first half. And it is, King are picking up that kill. The man who did a lot of the legwork in the second half of that game for Insidious as well. Looking for these angles. We may have found a trade here, and it is going to be hyper traded out. Double kill to King R right now. He is playing the docks. He's going to be pretty happy with how things are going. We are seeing the burns coming out, sprays through that little hole there. And they're trying to find angles, trying to find someone in that garage, give them the advantage they need to push into yellow stairs and get in onto the site. Frag being primed here. It is going to be going through the hole. No, unfortunately, it hits the garage wall and is denied. It's going in deep. It's going in far, but it is not going to achieve anything. Clash there on yellow stairs, and it is going to be Orbit in position on that Ash to maybe look for that spray through the wall there.
That pick off by Kingers onto Hyper. Oh, as I say it, Danistek takes out Kingers. Hyper playing the buck is very, very instrumental in taking control of Piano and playing the vertical game, tri-flush at the defenders as TVC now gets one to Danstick. 4v2 now in favor of Insidious. I think this is what we were talking about. Lethality just seemed to struggle a bit more on attack than defense, Panda.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit easier as we see another trade out. TVC picking up a double kill for himself, so we have 2 doubles in the round for this defender's side as we see Salty, the man on a mission on his own, looking to try and make his way down to Garage and try and affect some sort of change going into this first round. It's been a rough showing so far as he has been caught by the goo mine, and I mean, it's a bit of a slowdown considering how this level of aggression we've seen out of both teams so far is, you know, they've just been met by resistance time and time again, and it is Salty. He's just going to try and gauge the defense here, and it will be slow going. There's only so much that can be achieved in a 1v4, especially when you've got that Legion online. You've got a Clash as well. They've got tools to deal with it, and it will be the pre-fire coming out of TVC, securing himself not only a triple in the first round, but a win for Insidious.
And we see again defenders reign supreme in Rainbow Six Siege. Just so easy to wait the time and let the attacking team fall into your arms. We see the lobby press room defense chosen by Insidious now. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously winning that first round onto Garage has probably given them, you know, some mental momentum, I suppose is the appropriate word. You know, it puts you in a great mindset going into round 2, considering how that last map went. I mean, mental game is so huge in how, you know, we get to high-level esports and you find yourself in positions, especially considering that, you know, Villa was the pick that Insidious took going into the series and they lost their own pick. Now we're on Lethality's. And it looks like Insidious are just sort of clawing things back. They showed resistance in the first map, and now they've taken round 1 on Lethality's map going into match 2.
Yeah, you talk about mental games, and that early pick onto Zandere, I think, really killed the confidence of Lethality. We saw they weren't quite sure. They lost further men to Kings and to TBC on that Jaeger. Will we see the same thing this round?
I mean, we are seeing a bit of a setup, and it's one of the most interesting sites to see defended and attacked as well, because, you know, that lobby is so open to both the attack and defense, and there's some interesting lines of sight that can be held around it, especially from that first floor, which is what we're seeing. Hard priority onto this first floor by the soft walls, the impacts going out as well to create those rotate holes, and I mean, we've seen Sunday do it many a time as a go aggressive and then lose out, but it is Kinga looking for another spawn peak as he will be able to look out now. He's going for the run out. It's not quite enough. He's sitting in that window, which is pretty big. No, sorry, it's a doorway on yellow stairs. It looked like a window. It was a bit odd, but no, nothing gained, and it hasn't worked again as we see maybe, you know, going for that vertical play once again, going straight up top, looking to try and find something off the roof and maybe look from above as well. But, you know, there's already players there. It is TBC upstairs looking for something. And we could see some early aggression being traded out here on a Sundere.
Yeah, I think Insidious have the right idea here. Consulate is a map built around verticality, and Hyper have clearly seen that, and he's taken the buck. Soon to be nerfed, but as he is in his current state with frag grenades and that destructive skeleton key, he can really get the picks off through those floors. As we see now, Zandere pushing by long dash as TVC gets the pick onto Hyper. Pushing through Connector, Kingers gets knocked down quite low, but does get the pick onto Zandere.
Yeah, we find ourselves in another situation where it is Insidious in the lead in terms of bodies available to contest this, and it is Sundere and Hyper that have been taken off the map. So that buck is gone, so is the Ash. That's where that verticality sort of comes into play. That soft breaching allow them to find these lines of sight, which you wouldn't necessarily predict. That vertical play can be huge going this map. More pre-fires coming out from both sides as, I mean, what can Lethality do right now? The head was spotted there by Orbit, not quite reacting fast enough to take it down. And again, more spray through the soft breach, but the flank was there from Kinga. We do see him getting dropped, but it is the dock. He gets finished up by Danstick, and it is Danstick all alone after Orbit was dropped. And this is like a Photoshop replay of last game, but this time it's Danstick, and he's in a bit of trouble. He does get taken down half health as that rotate will come through from TVC, dropping into the hatch, and it is TVC who's sort of in the lead in terms of kills, doing really well in this game.
Yeah, and you talked about the replay, and I think that is the exact perfect way to put it. Last match, we saw the first couple of rounds by Insidious on attack. They rushed hard, and it didn't work out. They lost the picks, they lost their fraggers, and the same thing has happened here. Danstick is now on 50 health with less than a minute. I believe he does have the diffuser though, so he may be able to pull something off. But so much barbed at the bottom of that stairway.
Yeah, not only that, but they got the Clash online, they've got the Maestro, so, as well as the Legion. So there's just so many ways that they can scout him out, and it looks like Clash could be coming in behind Danstick, gathering that information. He may have been scattered out here as we see a run coming in from that left-hand flank. They do know exactly where he is. He's going for a run, looks for the spray. It's not enough. He will potentially be able to pick himself up, but no, TVC not going to give him the time of day. Is just going to finish him off, and that's 2 in a row now for Insidious in the initial stages of this map.
Is TVC the new Xandere?
Well, I think the real question is Xandere only good at playing defense because his attack rounds have just been abysmal? He hasn't really been able to achieve anything. Yes, he gets a little bit of information at best, but then he dies straight away. It's not the same level of play that we saw from him in the first half of the last map.
Yeah. As a general rule, Rainbow Six is not a game that favors the aggressive player. We see Xandere with the Ash now, clearly indicating that he wants to play fast, he wants to play hard, he's going for those peaks. But I don't think it will work. We've seen that lethality just cannot work when Xandere is dead. And as it is, he's dying a lot early in the rounds.
Yeah, I mean, potentially they should switch out Danstick, give the Zofia over to Xandere. Maybe then he could look to achieve something because he'll be able to carry out his own lines of sight, deny a lot of that AMP potential with the concussion grenades as well. We are heading to Console office meeting room, so we are right up on the tippy top floor. And this verticality play, which we really haven't had the opportunity to see, is we also see that Hyper has opted to go for the sledge here. So you've got to wonder if that vertical play will come into it at all, because we haven't seen it pulled off well at all.
Well, interesting that they brought the sledge instead of the buck, because as I think we all know in the audience, sledge just cannot breach upwards. Unless he's standing up on some sort of desk, he's going to struggle to open up those ceilings, whereas buck can just use that skeleton key and get the shots. So sledge may not have been the best pick for lethality here, as we see Redmeister with the smoke using that shotgun to great effect, and really quite the sight.
Yeah, and these teams are setting up some other interesting angles. It's King R going for another aggressive peek. He hasn't learned his lesson and is punished for it. Danstick, the current frag lead, in fact, the only one with frags on this lethality side. Xandere having a rather disappointing performance, all said and done, compared to the last one. And Danstick, I mean, he got that quad in the last one. Has he come online right now, Sam? Is this going to be the entryway back into this game for lethality?
Well, we see they're playing with their trademark aggression again. Xandere and Salty pushing hard into the admin office. Not generally a key take, but once they get control of those 2 main stairways on the east side, it's quite easy to cut off most of the rotates. Peeking down long death now, Xandere.
Yeah, and it is going to be Xandere looking for something, but there's so many different peek holes and ground floor peek holes as well that have been set up by Insidious here. They're looking for all these off angles, trying to find, potentially the damage they need, and it will be Xandere again going down early. They had found that initial kill on the King R, but it was Danstick who got that. He's looking for another angle, has found TVC. So that's a double for Danstick going into round 3. This could be their way back into this game. They need to get themselves around on the board, reset that negative mentality which will be coming out. It is their pick. They've lost 2 rounds already. That can't be good for their mental state.
Indeed, as we see the Legion of Apples right in that corner, and Hyper does step on that Legion mine. He's going to try to contest, but doesn't see that there's another Legion mine on the door. As he hits it, pushes in. There's a gunfight. They trade shots. Apples is down to half health.
Here he goes in for that jiggle pick, trying to find some information. It is the information they need. Redmeister trading salty as Apples goes down as well. Spark picks up the kill onto Orbit. They finish it off. Hyper picks up 2. And lethality, they've brought it back in their map and get round 3.
And just like that, we didn't even have time for words, and it swung from a sort of passive match, passive round, and all the frags popped off, and lethality brought out the win. proving that they still have that momentum and they still have pure skill.
I mean, they found their stride, which is potentially what they need to be able to carry on this momentum going into later stages. So we could be seeing a much more even map here, Sam. I mean, last one, it was incredibly one-sided. Lethality just dominated from start to finish in both halves. Could we see this go to, the longest game we've had tonight already?
Perhaps, as we see Zandere finally moving a bit more towards a team-oriented role, bringing that Hibana, looking to take out those reinforced walls alongside the thermite of Danstick. Again, we see the clash. I'm still a bit astounded. Oh no, Redmeister is continuing to play the clash, and by all accounts, it's worked quite well for Insidious.
Yeah, and I mean, you can find some of those doorways, which can be brutally painful to try and deal with, especially with the shield operator on the map. We are down in Garage and Cafeteria once again. And yeah, I mean, Zandere switching out for that Hibana could be the tool he needs to just reset, get back into this game. We also see Hyper orientating back to that Buck 2. So hopefully we see it pulled off well, because Hyper's died so early in some of these rounds that they haven't been able to play those soft floors or even some of those soft walls, get those angles they need to, and win off the back of it. And it really is Danstick that is standing out in this map.
Absolutely. As we see, King is once again roaming, this time for going Doc and his very beloved ACOG, and instead taking Vigil, as we see an early pick from TVC peeking out the window onto Hyper. That will be the butt gun, as you were just saying, Panda. Poor Hyper dying early in the round.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, Hyper currently has the lowest life expectancy in this match so far. He spent probably the least amount of time alive as well, but at least he can sit there on the drones, get some information for his team, as we see aggression onto the second floor, heading into admin office. It will be Zandere as well as Salty, so throwing out those drones, being a bit safer. It's not Zandere's playstyle, though. He is going to push in while Salty does the information work. Sprays going through that softball. TVC trying to find another one, but little did he know there was actually no one there that he could have picked up. It's all basically how it goes in this game here. You spray through the softballs, hoping to find something. Kinger finds Salty as well. Kinger just putting on a performance in this map as well. He's just been all over the place. He looked for those spawn picks. He learned his lesson, though, so he's taking a bit slower now. He's not playing the dock. He's gone to that Vigil. And, I mean, it's slowed down a little bit more than we have seen.
Yeah, indeed. Zandere now getting the pick onto Kingers, so that is Lethality's top fragger there, getting another kill onto a top fragger, contesting down the long death. TVC down to a one-shot, gets taken out by Zandere again with the double kill now. 3v3, things are pretty even as we come into the pointy end of this round. As you can see, the Bandit and the Clash still holding onto Garage quite easily.
Yeah, unfortunately for Zandere, though, he's on the wrong floor. He does find himself a double kill, though, so he's looking just that little bit better now coming into match 2. This is the best performance he's had so far on attack. We'll be seeing that hatch going open as well. Danstick has chucked his exothermic charge down, onto the Garage, so they have lines of sight being established into this Garage. The drone is there. Vertical plate coming into it. Bandit Trap has been destroyed by Orbit. Hibana X Kairos are dropped there as well, looking for more of that verticality play. They're making their own peak holes now that Hyper is gone. Spark finds the kill onto Danstick. That is that Bandit, but he gets dropped by Zandere. A triple now on the attack. This is the best performance he's had so far in this attacking role. There are only 32 seconds left in this round. Drone being dropped by Zandere, but he doesn't look at it. That's not his style. Actually, no, he will. I think this is the first time I've seen him use a drone on attack in the dying rounds of a match. 20 seconds left. The dew trap does land. Zandere being dropped there. Will trade out with apples, in fact. 1v1 Redmeister versus Orbit. Orbit looking to do what he can, but it's a clash. There's 10 seconds left. He won't be able to get the bomb down. It is Orbit looking for that kill. He's going in hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The turnaround, it's not enough, and Redmeister delays the round out long enough for Insidious to pick up their third.
And that's the clash pick there. I commented on how orthodox it is, but it's just working quite well. As you can see, Salty in the game chat, not quite happy with that. As the objective rotates back to a lobby defense for Insidious now. What a round from Zandere, showing that he still can get those frags. Now he's playing IQ, though. Yeah,
it has taken a wee while to warm up that Hibana. It was kind of clutch. in the dying seconds there. And unfortunately, though, the clash, the infuriation of a shield operator, and we see it happening right off the back of that orbit, is on the Montagne. Danstick is switching out from those Zofia. It has been handed over to Hyper, who has really struggled to, be effective in any of these rounds. So it will be the Maverick for Danstick there as we head to lobby press room, and the Dokkaebi as well for Salty.
Yeah, it's clear. Lethality have had enough of Insidious roaming. They've brought the Dokkaebi, they've brought the Jackal. They are just going to clear out those roamers and then focus on the objective, because that is what has prevented them from winning these rounds as it is. We saw so much time wasted in that defense of the projector room being reinforced at the moment. And as a defensive team, that's all you have to do, and Lethality just cannot match it.
Yeah, it's a complete polar opposite of what we saw going into the last game. The Lethality have picked up a round earlier on. They did secure themselves that third round. And I mean, it's strange to see them on their own map playing this poorly. Maybe they didn't necessarily strategize as well as they thought they had coming this. We are going to see, again, King just breaking open that window. Shenanigans. Might be seeing him go for a bit of a spawn peek once again, as he is just breaking open the bottom of that window, looking for something potentially. The guy has been an absolute menace in the initial stages of some of these rounds, and he's not going for it this time. He's played it a bit safe, and Danstick looking for that spawn pick. I think they've read it a little bit here. They know that Kinger has consistently been looking for it. Sundere obviously doesn't quite know what to do with drones, because he threw it into the wall and it just fell to the ground outside.
Yeah, as we see now, they look to take admin office right off the bat. As we keep on saying, Consulate is a map where you have to worry about the floors above and below you. The first logic bomb gets dropped by Salty, and the phones are ringing.
Yeah, I mean, that verticality is so huge in a map like Consulate, and we have yet to see it be pulled off effectively. I don't think we've seen anyone being killed through these floors so far. Usually it's the head-to-head match through some of these, straight lines of sight into some of these clutch angles. As Hyper is already being dropped pretty low. He's less than half health. Hyper there getting taken out by TVC. That Zofia not going to be able to achieve anything. Montagne being a nuisance. Orbit is there. Sundere finds TVC, and he finds a second on the King. That is the two top fraggers for Insidious, completely blown away in this game. They have everything they need to set themselves up onto the site. They have seen the feat of Redmeister. I don't think Sundere quite realized it. There he goes. He knows where he is now, and it could be that Redmeister is backed into a corner, and we could be seeing the battle of shield versus shield right now. And it is Apples trying to find a clutch position in around that piano, as Maestro's there too. The logic bomb being dropped, and I mean, that aggression has paid off, Sam.
Oh, absolutely. We saw them come in. Apple's getting the pick off the Danstick, 3v3 now, but we saw Insidious defend as much as possible. TVC getting a great shot off, but it just wasn't enough to maintain top floor control. And I think Insidious will pay the price for it now, as we see the floor getting opened up with Ray's impact. He drops down. Peeking Piano doesn't know that the Maestro is hiding.
He didn't even see that there was someone sitting in the corner. Salty finds a trade, though, so we are back into 2v2. Unfortunately, it is actually a shield and another operator. Unfortunately, he's going for the plant, and it is just going to be Redmeister dropping the shield and picking up that kill. All that is left is Orbit. He is potentially going to be sprayed through this wall. Shield versus shield. We could see this delayed out for 18 seconds. The zap's coming. Orbit's so desperate to try and contest this. He is having the worst time. I can't think of anything more frustrating in the situation. He's looking for the trade onto Spark here. I don't know if he can find it. He gets the kill onto Redmeister, and it is going to be the run out from Spark. He's just legging it. And unfortunately, this is the second time we've seen the clash coming in clutch, delaying out rounds, and this must be infuriating for Lethality.
I think, as the saying goes, fight fire with fire, but clearly it hasn't worked out well for Lethality, as two shields do not make a right.
No, I mean, really, you should have been fighting it with water, and I mean, you're so used to seeing the shields on attack, and when it comes in defense, you just have to take a moment, and it can blow you away. As we see, the clash is not being picked up here. We do have the potential for that sixth pick, but it is Kinger looking for it. We could potentially see the switch out to a Vigil. Salty was on the gridlock. that 6th pick is potentially there. We could see a pulse going into this game. It wasn't... I think we saw it in the first map, but it really didn't achieve anything. The mirror is also there as we head to Archives and Tellers now. A vertical bomb site, which is going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, these split sites, however rare in Rainbow, are still interesting ones, both to attack and defend. Our first appearance of Mira tonight will be interesting to see exactly how Sparked is able to play her, try to keep control of Archives. Yeah.
I mean, a traditional play into that mirror is the Kali, which has been picked up more and more going into the high-level scene, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any of that. Sandre is back on the Ash, an operator which he has had very little success on so far. And we are seeing that vertical play coming out once again. Mira is downstairs in that Archive site. Archive site is really an interesting one just because of the colors. It can be a bit disorientating. Sometimes you miss that odd pixel which would give away that an operator is there. And I've seen time and time again friends of mine who are players in that high-level community just get absolutely bamboozled because, you know, that blue light can be a bit off-putting.
Yeah, and there's also those railings on the south side right next to the corridor, which are so easy to get picks on, but very inconsistent railings are best friends in this game. As we see, once again, the aggression, but TVC is waiting for the repel in on admin.
And unfortunately, he gets traded out by Salty. They read it cleanly. I mean, considering that almost every round so far, we have seen Lethality head straight to admin office on the 2nd floor, look for that verticality play, and it hasn't worked overly well. That's why we find ourselves 4-1 in favor of Insidious, but they've now figured out that they are looking at a split bomb site in Archives and Tellers as well. That gridlock at the top of the stairs is going to be huge. There's going to be no vertical rotation potential. And, I mean, there's no defensive operators in this top floor at all. They've got complete control. They can play their vertical game just that little bit safer. And it's been far less aggression in this game as we see the spray coming out. It is not enough. Sandre getting dropped on that Ash once again. Redmeister gets himself that kill. TVC was traded out earlier on, and sprays desperately coming out of Redmeister into those Teller windows. He's so low. Kinga, in fact, getting dropped by Orbit. A double kill for Redmeister. Gets Hyper. That is the Nomad taken off the map right now. Sprays going out. They aren't able to finish up that kill. Another one for Salty, who picks himself up a double. Redmeister and Apple's completely wiped out. It is all down to this mirror. Spark trying to do what he can. He will get sprayed down. It is Orbit winning the 6th round for Lethality.
What a round from Lethality, that early pick onto the top fragger of TVC. And from there was just no stopping them. Even though Zandere again trying to rush and again having it collapse in on him. Poor Redmeister just couldn't hold the upstairs objective. And it was just Sparked was left all by himself, and there's just not much you can do.
I mean, there was no real change out of, like, you know, the initial play from Lethality there. It was exactly the same start to finish. They went straight to admin office. The only real difference is Salty was able to take the head off TVC, who, as you see, is 9-1-4. He's the lead fragger, not only in this game, but for his team as well. When that is off the board, it's going to be hugely demoralizing. You know, that's the guy who has come in, you know, consistently time and time again for your team. And if they lose him, it's a snowball effect. They just washed through the rest of Insidious there. And we are heading to console office and meeting room up on that 2nd floor as well. And we see Sandre playing the Vigil this time. A bit more rotational play coming out there, not opting for that Jaeger. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can pull out the same level of defense play that he did in that one.
Yeah, as we see now, the teams flip over the sides. Insidious now attacking. They didn't have much luck last map on Villa, the attacking side, so we will see how exactly they can try to take this win away from Lethality. The Orbit again playing Maestro, such an influential operator.
I mean, yeah, those evil eyes can just... they're so impactful, especially considering it disrupts the bomb plant. You can actually take out some of those operators who have previously been damaged by your teammates, and all Orbit has to do is sit in the corner and he can impact the other side of the map. And we are seeing some pretty standard stuff out of them. A bit of a lag coming out from our viewer client, but the round has started, and it looks like it would be TVC on that Ash looking for some early aggression, repelling up, and we could see the exact same level of play in terms of what we saw in map 1.
Yeah, interesting. They're not opting to commit to an admin push, an admin take, instead playing on those console windows. However, Tsundere, playing with the Vigil down below, may be able to use his impacts and breach through the garage door, perhaps go for a peek, as we see Salty trying to hold the top of yellow stairs, but he's got a lot of angles to cover and a lot of crosshairs, looking very close to where he is as TBC gets caught by the Magpie.
I mean, they scattered him out. That drone was enough to see him. They know he's in this position. TVC will get that kill onto him, so that is the smoke gone, which is going to be a huge amount of entry denial not available for this Lethality side. And it's not quite as confident as we have seen them playing on this map, despite it being their pick. We could see this go to that clubhouse final, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was quite close going into the second half of this. Enemy detected outside. It looks like it will be Tsundere. That level of aggression. The man has one role to play, and it is that rotato potato.
Yeah, as we see, Kingers gets the second pick for his team this round. Ash will be in the site. TVC has taken console, and the plant will start to go down from apples. Not sure what Lethality is doing here. As
Tsundere, he's found his first one under Kingers. That Nomad, that rotate denial. Hyper is there. C4 going out. Unfortunately, Tsundere gets dropped. TVC gets a kill, but Hyper does find something with that C4. The gridlock traps are there. He gets stalled out, and Redmeister will clutch that one out for his team. He was so impactful denying that rotate potentially. Also got that kill onto Tsundere as well, and it's a different form, I suppose. You know, going into that initial map, Tsundere just had those tight angles in on Villa and the rotate potential because it just is that little bit more open. But the choke points going between floors is so rough to deal with, especially with a gridlock in the map.
Absolutely. Now, it was interesting there. We saw Orbit on the Maestro was still alive as that plant went down. So whether it was a case of he was being pinched and had to contest in a gunfight, or they just didn't realize that the plant was going down at that time, there may have been the opportunity to deny that was missed out on by Lethality.
Yeah, and we are heading down to Cafeteria Garage. Tsundere pulling out another operator. You know, he's not on the Jaeger. He's not on the Vigil this time. He's on the dock. Maybe looking to try and keep himself alive a little bit longer because he dies pretty quickly.
I think it's just that ACOG. As a Jaeger main, he's probably in a bit of denial. He's probably going to ACOG every week, and he just wants a bit of a taster for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're going to see that level of cheekiness match that we saw out of King R, going for those runouts, going for the early peaks, and I mean, we've got the Mozzie as well, so there is that denial onto the drone entry as well as abandoning up that garage door. They've got the IQ, they've got the Thermite, they've got the Nomad, so they've got the roam conventional denial there, but it really comes down to where they are going to make their way into Consulate here, whether it's vertically or are they going to look to push in on these other stairs. It doesn't look like it, as it is just going to be Danstick there down on the bomb site. And we have, really, they're so spread out. It's two of them on the bomb site, two on the top floor, and then it is just Orbit on floor 1.
We can see there both Salty and Tsundere trying to hold on to admin. Tsundere going for a peek with the aforementioned ACOG. Doesn't look like he's going to find anyone, though, despite all of his efforts.
Yeah, and the bomb has been found by Insidious. They are looking for that first floor play. It is just going to be Kinger looking there, trying to drone things out, get some information, as Salty has returned down into that garage. Tsundere looking aggressively at Spotlight. So Skylight was there, not Spotlight. Skylight, he didn't find anyone. The drone's coming out here. Tsundere finds a drone looking through that hatch, trying to spray through the wall and look for something. The man has been rather ineffectual, despite being 7-2-7. He hasn't been having a huge impact like we saw in Game 1.
Absolutely. As we can see now, a gunfight between Salty and the Ash of TBC. The Nitro cell goes out, cannot find anybody. Admin and that east side of the map, the top of the map that is, now seems to be under control of the attacking Insidious team. As we see Salty again, just trying to hold on the circle. I think he's playing it quite well. He's done his job of slowing down the attackers, and he's realized pull back. Kingers getting the pick on Tsundere. The Fragger, again, just not catching a break on this map.
Yeah, I mean, a spray coming out there, and it will be TPC copping a bit of love from the defending side. And just sprays going through those softballs, trying to find something, and it will be Danstick and Salty picking up kills onto Kinger and TVC, the two most impactful players on this Insidious side. It's down to Apples, Sparked, and Redmeister. Redmeister has had a couple of clutch rounds here with that big Gridlock machine gun, looking to maybe find something. The Gridlock Stinger's being dropped there. IQ, and they're just looking for something. They don't know what to do. Nomad's gone, TVC's gone. They're looking for that vertical play once again. They're looking to scout out the bandit traps, and they almost get caught there. The impact grenades going out. Hyper in position, looking for the vertical play. Has seen the head of Redmeister. Is not able to connect due to those metal bars, and they clear out the batteries. It will be the play in onto Garage with the Thermite Apples in position. They have multiple different angles locked here down by Insidious, but it's still a 4v3.
Yeah, as we saw with that Thatcher ban, the attacking team are having to rely on vertical play to try and have any shot of opening up that garage door. As we see now, Hyper being very aggressive. He doesn't have much health to play with, but is intending to push up into that piano. Contest the verticality, sprays, misses his shots, but he does tag up Spark. The diffuser looks to be attempted to plant as Spark gets the kill off onto Hyper. The timer locks down. 2 kills now. Salty with a double. 1v3 for Apples. Doesn't plant down.
They got the down, I would imagine, onto Apples there and cleaned it up with the last melee attack. Yeah, there we go. He jumps over and is just going to smack it. Oh, no, he's going for the bomb plant. He tried to clutch it out.
He wasn't too far away from getting it either. I think a couple more milliseconds he might have got it down. Wouldn't have made a difference, though.
No, I mean, it's just for style points. And Salty coming up big in that round on the Mozzie, and it was a much better round in terms of the defense side. Sunray still went down reasonably early, and we are going to see a bit of a change here on the defenders side. That Pulse being picked up by Orbit, opting back to the Vigil here for Sunray. I don't know if we're going to see a 6-pick Hyper as well going onto the dock, and it could be the Mute here for Sandre instead of the Vigil. It's a bit of a different play style that we have seen, opting not to pick up the Bandit in console office as well, so it's definitely going to be a bit of a different strategy out of Lethality.
Yeah, for sure. As we see that shift away from roaming, Intel denial, bragging for Sandre to a more utility-based role with the Mute. He's got 4 of those signal jammers to place down, wreak havoc on the intel gathering devices of Lethality, Insidious. And once again, seeing that M590A1 being used to great effect on the top floor.
Yeah, we saw Danstick trying to go through that rotate hole. Unfortunately, Jaeger's just a bit too tall for those situations. Gets caught on the soft wall as we see a bit of a peak being set up by Orbit on that Pulse. And this is where that vertical play gets really dangerous. If that heartbeat monitor picks up a defender, it's so much attacker, not defender. You're not going to worry about your own teammates. But yeah, if it picks up the heartbeat of an attacker, it just gives you so much information. The big problem is, though, Sparked is playing that IQ as we see Hyper going for another spawn peak. And they've been largely ineffectual other than King R in that initial first half, and they're not going to be able to achieve anything. Danstick breaking some windows as well, and I mean, he almost had the line of sight there out in that initial peek into lobby window onto Kinger, who is playing the sledge in this round. Again, that vertical play with BIQ scanning out for devices here. They are going to ping it out. They are looking for something, and it's Danstick in lobby looking to potentially pick up someone going into piano. And there's just a lot of different positions being held here by the defense.
Exactly. We talked about the importance of the IQ and clearing out that pulse, and we can see the Spectre on our wrist is being used, trying to hunt for the pulse right next to 2 of those defenders, but both oblivious of each other now, as we see the piano hold is still there for Orbit. A lot of time being wasted. That's a full minute now in the round gone, and not much being done, though.
I mean, not much being done, but we did actually lose Hyper as well. A bit of a disconnect there, so we might have to have a rehost. Depends on how things go, and I mean, it's a bit unfortunate. I mean, Hyper hasn't been overly impactful in this map so far. Orbit picking up a kill onto TVC, so despite losing Hyper, it is now evened up. Spark, though, will trade out Salty, that Maestro, so they do have the vision, but they won't have that, disruption in on those evil eyes as well. Danstick and Sandre looking to do what they can. Danstick has probably put in the most effort by Lethality right now. And Sandre
down from Apples, though.
Yeah, they're getting in on the side. The diffuser has been planted. A 3v4 And I mean, it's just not been a great defense round. Danzig, though, picks up the kill on the King as it is. Orbit picking up another one with that C4. 3v2. It's just Apples left with Redmeister evening it up. Sandre going down. And it will be that peek out the window by Redmeister. He's repelled. He's jumping in. Now will be Circle Sears going in as well. Orbit finds the down, but gets traded out by Apples. A 1v1 Danzig. Can he do it? He's getting sprayed in onto by Apples. Apples picks up the kill, winning round 9 for Insidious.
I think that there was an example of getting a bit kill hungry. He downed the Nomad. He didn't have to go for the kill. He really should have pushed the Thermite there. There was the opportunity to take back the Diffuser, but instead he went for the down and got taken out because of it. And now we're on match point. With Lethality still a man down, it remains to be seen whether or not we will rehost.
Nah, he is back in the server. He just jumped back in.
He's just joined.
It looks like we're going to carry on. The R on match point now for Insidious. It's not been quite as one-sided as we saw it in the last one, although it doesn't look like he has picked anything up. It was just a second too late. It will be a 4v5. We haven't had confirmation or anything that it will be a rehost at this stage. They might just look to play it out and go for the next one, in fact. I mean, it would be the smart read. They haven't found a lot of success on to Consulate so far, so maybe looking to Clubhouse could be the play here for Lethality to close out the series.
Indeed, as we see a return to Console, I believe, the defense on Console, they'll try to clutch out the match point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's only so we know Hyper did make it in. He is playing that Vigil, so we could see them look to try and take it the distance and finish the series out on their own. Although finding themselves down 3 points, it's a bit of a distance to overcome. It's not something we haven't seen before, but it is still a bit of a hardship that Lethality have to play into. Pretty standard stuff being picked up on both sides. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The castle is there though for Salty. It would be Hyper playing the Vigil this time. Sandre back on the Jaeger. Could he be back on the operator he needs to come back into this map?
I think so. He's shown time and time again that he can use Jaegers, perhaps slightly overpowered AR, to great use. And I think that he will be able to get some picks in this round and perhaps get the round win, keeping his team in this fight.
Well, I mean, Jaeger, he's one of those interesting operators. Basically, as soon as he's dropped those, the utility denial, the ADC's down, he is largely done what he needs to be doing other than, picking up frags around the map. So he can just go off to different places. He doesn't need to stay in and commit anything onto the site, which is sort of where Sunday's wheelhouse has been. And it will be Orbit upstairs on the Mozzie. The repels coming out from the attacking side, so they have spotted out that bomb up in Console. So it is going to be basically where we have seen Insidious succeeding again. They have found the bomb site. They're in a position where they can start to look to get onto the site as well. And the only defender in position is Salty taking down someone there, but it is only going to be Danzig in position to contest it. Salty does drop Kinga. Kinga, a big fragger going into this game. Danzig as well going for a bit of a rotate, looking into those stairs. Droning has been happening, and it will be the swing in there. It is the down onto Sparked. Unfortunately, that IQ not being able to gather any more information off the back of it. Hyper picks up that kill with the impact, finishing him off. So committing the utility there to stop that potential pickup onto Sparked.
I think it was that change there, perhaps to the castle of Salty, that has really allowed Lethality. We saw him getting that opening pick, and he gets Hyper getting the pick onto Apples, playing down Circle Desk. Sanderake getting the pick onto Redmeister. It's a 1v5 now. TVC going to have to clutch it out with the Jackal. Probably not going to see it, but it's no matter because his team is 3 points ahead in this map.
Yeah, they've got a lot of room to play around. And this is the first time we've seen a run out actually work. Hyper picking up that kill as well. The Vigil coming in clutch and a flawless round for Lethality. Not dropping a single member. Sandre even was able to pick himself up a kill in that one too. So maybe, Hyper having left and coming back, maybe it was a rage quit, who knows? But he's back in the game, he's ready to play, and it's been already a vast improvement in performance.
Absolutely. As we see now, Insidious continuing their attacking campaign, looking for that match point, looking to take it to the final map, that is Clubhouse, as we see another cafeteria garage defense, and the Warden being brought by Hyper perhaps to counter the smoke plan.
I mean, it could be just, we see that sixth pick coming out, but looking at the kills so far, TVC has just been monstrous. Kinger as well has put in a huge performance. In fact, it is Sparked, who's, the only one who's not really performing his best at the moment, but it is that utility position. He's playing the support, wants to gather the information for his team, whereas we see a much closer spread of kills on this lethality side, but we are going to be heading into this round 6-4 in favor of Insidious, a much closer map than we saw in the last one, Sam.
Absolutely. We'll see again the Mozzie being brought out by Orbit. He just fills so many roles for the defensive team, and I think that's why he's getting nerfed soon. The removal of his super shorty will make him a bit more reliant on other operators and make him a bit less of a one-trick pony.
I mean, let's be honest. The only reason they are removing the super shorty from Mozzie is because he got upset about all the height comments. He doesn't like it when you make fun of him, and just having that shotgun stuck to him makes him rather upset. That it's purely HR related. He just complained and he got his way, so he won't be having that one anymore. But we are getting into it. The action phase has ended. 3 minutes on the clock. Will this be Insidious looking to close it out, or will Lethality take it the distance and secure this series? It is going to be a close one for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see overtime potentially going into this one. And Kinger in position, looking for those yellow stairs. Not yellow stairs, it's the other side. But he is in position. He's trying to gather some information on the rotators, which will be Sundray looking to run around and be a nuisance. We have the Cade pickup as well for Hyper, another operator which has been brought in, playing something just a little bit different. I'm pretty sure we've seen Lethality just this. They've picked the most diverse lineup of operators that we've seen so far.
Absolutely, and we see that rise of utility that is so often commented on recently. We have those 2 Maestro cans, we have the 3 pests to worry about of Mozzie, the 3 bandit boxes, ADSs, Kaid claws, and all that they've brought to counter it is the IQ and the Zofia. They're the only real utility counters as we see the bandit boxes getting picked off. Will give Apples the opportunity to breach that garage door now. Yeah,
I mean, you say the only counter, but it was obviously enough because that vertical play allowed them to clear out that garage wall, so they're going to have a very easy time getting in onto site. Apples is there, has the exothermic charges there, just going to have to drone it out. I don't believe they were in a position where they could just re-electrify those walls with the Cade. And again, more vertical play being started up. Sparked has shut down those breach charges. Looking for someone, has found the spray on the Danstick. Salty as well, being dropped by Apples. A 5v3 now for Insidious. And I mean, that last round was flawless for Lethality, and it's a much shakier position they find themselves in now.
Absolutely. Xandere playing a bit more passive, still roaming with that Jaeger, looking for that peek at a console window as TVC gets the pick onto Hyper. Not sure what Hyper was doing there, perhaps trying to use his scoped Magnum, going for the pick, hasn't quite worked out. It's a 2v5 now, though, in favor of Insidious, though knowing Xandere, he might be able to pull out something magical.
Yeah, I mean, it's those moments where the true heroes of Rainbow Six do shine, but the bomb is being defused right now. Diffuser being dropped here by Apples. It will be moments away from active. 42 seconds on the clock. It is all down to Sundray in orbit to do something here. He finds one, taking it to a 4v2 currently. Sundray looking for more. He's on 9-2 right now, so he has come back into this game. There is external operators looking for something. Sundray gets dropped by TVC, who picks up a double kill. The spray's going out. Orbit finds one into Kinger, but he is so low. A 3v1, 20 seconds left, and he will be taken down. TVC picking that one up, and it looks like we'll be going to a game 3, Seth.
Absolutely, and I think we saw that right from the start, right from those first 2 rounds. We saw what Insidious can bring to the table, and they've shown it off. TVC with a well-deserved MVP for his team, Apples and Kingers bringing up the second and third spots. I think if both teams can continue that momentum into this next match, then we have the possibility to go to overtime, perhaps even a draw.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, it will be Clubhouse for the third match, and I mean, the way things have been going, it is going to be an absolute slugfest. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be back for the third map of this series. So go get yourselves a drink of water, take a break, go to the bathroom, and we'll bring you back with all the action. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting straight back into map 3 of the first series between Insidious and Lethality. I'm joined by Sam once again. I am Bluepanda Sam. How are we doing going into map 3 of our first series of the night?
Well, Panda, I think it's turned out better than anyone could have expected. The first map, Villa, was a decisive win for our team, Lethality, with a 7-2 bulldozer. However, the tides turned on our second map, Consulate, with Insidious winning 7, and that was TVC taking the MVP. We see Maverick is the first ban this time from Insidious on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Maverick is a pretty solid pick onto Clubhouse as it is. Just the way he is able to deal with some of these, hard reinforced walls without having to worry about the Thatcher, which is traditionally, banned out. But it is not going to be this time. It's going to be the Gridlock instead. So that hard breach play is going to be coming into effect onto Clubhouse. But Sam, what is going on with Lethality? We saw in the first game, Sandre played spectacularly, out of his mind on the defense side. And since that moment, he has been largely underwhelming. Consistency is a big problem in esports. If you cannot maintain that high level, it's you're going to find yourself struggling to find teams, struggling to stay in competitions. I mean, we saw him come back a little bit towards the end of Consulate there. Is he going to be showing up on this map or what?
Well, with Lethality starting on attack for the second time in a row, my vote is no, Panda. I think because he's been struggling so much without that Jaeger, without his 416C, I don't think that he will be as effective as influential in this final matchup for today as we see the Echo ban. We get into our first round of the final match, the decider between these two teams, Insidious and Lethality.
Yeah, I mean, the other band we saw was actually the Clash. So I think Lethality having a bit of PTSD off the back of that pick because it was so instrumental in getting, Insidious some of those rounds where they just stalled it out. They were unable to get around that shield, and as a result, they lost out rather embarrassingly to the point where Salty felt he even needed to mention something in chat. He was rather upset about it. We are seeing a standard lineup. The Thatcher is there. They also see the Capcan, but it will be switched out for the Maestro. The Ash are being switched out for the IQ of Sandre. They are once again on attack. Lethality going to have the same showing on attack that we've seen them pull out because it has not been impressive.
Well, I think Clubhouse, as with most, if not all maps, is one of these defender-sided maps, and especially with the hard breach denial and a strong site like the Cache, which is the selected one, I think Lethality are going to have their work cut out for them, especially Sandre on the IQ.
I mean, yeah, CCTV Cache Room is going to be one of the most brutal sites to hold and attack. There's so many different lines of sight that you can hold in and around Cache and those east stairs, and as well as sitting on catwalks. So things are going to be rather interesting. The rotation holes already being set up here by Kinga with that super shorty, and if things go the way they have, I mean, it's anyone's game at this stage.
Absolutely. I think it just comes down to the speed at which these teams play at. All this day, ever since the start, we have seen, we have seen that both teams want to play at a fast pace, get inside the building, and start clearing out those rooms. And for the most part, it hasn't worked out. So as we see now, Sandre doing exactly what I say, and Danstick as well, pushing in through Strip Club. We will see another aggressive push from Lethality.
Yeah, we see Sparked down on those blue stairs coming out of Oil Pit. And I mean, it's not what we traditionally see. There's a couple of different play styles you can play in Rainbow Six. One of them is that hard, aggressive style that we have seen out of both of these teams tonight. The other one is that stall game. You wait it out, you get the information you need, you then look to aggressively push in the last couple of moments of the round, get the plant down, and look to play around it there, because the less time you have left in the round, the less time you have to screw things up. You shorten the time where they have to react, and it's not what we're seeing out of these teams, and it has been a bit of a seesaw in terms of who has had the advantage going into this.
Yeah, interesting. Lethality making a point of clearing out that bottom floor for roamers. They know how effective Insidious can be off-site. So really making a point of taking that Jackal, as Hyper taking a small bit of damage alongside Salty out on the balcony, as Orbit gets the first pick of the map off onto Kingers.
And it is Kingers, one of those players who has been hugely impactful for this Insidious side. It is going to be Spark stuck in this garage between the entry doorway and that hallway off to the side there. He's looking for something. I don't think he's got really any room to go as that wall has been blown open. He's got one attacker just outside looking to take his head off if given the opportunity. We find Orbit. He's at the top of the stairs. Spark does get the kill onto Salty, though. That is the thermite down. He's heading back up the catwalk. Does get dropped by Hyper, who, again, one of those underwhelming players in the last match, looking to make his influence in this game as TBC finds Danzig. That is the Zofia down. It is up to Orbit, Sandre, and Hyper. Sprays come out. Apples finds Hyper. That is the Thatcher down. They have no way of getting through these hard walls. Maestro up on top of the catwalk gets dropped by Orbit. Sandre being dropped, and Insidious find themselves in the lead once again. Back-to-back maps where they've taken the opening round.
Absolutely. The tennis match continues back and forth and back and forth. We saw it there in that round. It went from 5v4, 4v4, and so on. I think it has shown that Lethality will be a bit more effective in their attack, but they'll need to pull out a bit more if they want this win.
Yeah, and we are heading down to Church Arsenal Room. This is where things do get spicy as well. There's so many. So the vertical play again will be coming into it. That main hallway between Church and Arsenal gets a bit scary if they don't play it correctly. You've also got, obviously, Merch Room as well. So not Merch Room, the memorial, the Harley Davidson sitting up there on the wall.
Moto Garage is the call.
Moto Garage Memorial. It goes by different names. I mean, my friends don't necessarily tell me the true ones because they want me to get it wrong and then get picked because they're not nice to me. But I mean, we've seen some interesting stuff out of both these teams so far. Going into round 2, will there be any form of adaptation? Sandre, he's fragless on the attacking side. It is only the first round, but it is Orbit and Hyper that actually did most of the work in that last round.
Yeah, we saw Sandre on our last match, Consulate, quite effective on the Hibana. So with all these patches to open up, breach, and put pressure on from above, I think Sandre, if he gets taken out early, like he so often has, it will have a very profound negative impact on the effectiveness of the attack.
Yeah, I mean, the big concern that I have going into this one, Sandre is playing that hard breacher of the Hibana. When you're playing in a position where, you know, he's aggressive, he's looking for these entry frags, what are you going to do if you don't have that hard breach available? Yeah, they've still got Salty, but again, he's been another member of this Lethality side that has consistently been picked in the opening minutes. Kinga has taken his head off time and time again on all three, on 2 of the maps so far. I haven't yet to see him do it in this one, but Kinga has been playing some interesting sneaky stuff, and lines of sight already being established, and it is, again, we see these attackers looking aggressive.
Yeah, we see the Mozzie and the Jaeger again roaming for Insidious as there is a gunfight. Kingers gets the first opening pick onto Danzig, but in the process gets knocked down very low in health. Mozzie peeking through bullet holes, looks to be Garage, looking for that pick as they enter through Stockroom.
Yeah, and it is those small holes which can be an absolute let down for some attacking sides. The Jackal is there, has scouted out Mozzie, so they are going to be looking for Sparked through some of these soft walls. So he is in the garage, though. Kinga picking up another one. Double kill for him. It is Sandre down. That is the hard breach, the Hibana. They are in blue, and it will be to pick up back onto Red Meister. Kinga and Red very, very low. The exothermic charge being dropped. Hyper from above on that Thatcher, looking for something through that hatch. The diffuser was dropped, not because someone died, but because they are looking to reposition potentially and set up for an attack onto the site. And these angles, again, looking desperately, trying to find a pick, trying to even things up. It is Hyper up on the top floor, looking for something, and he's going to run down, look to set up something. He is looking at some of those angles, and there is someone there waiting for him. They do just miss each other, and they almost look for a trade, but nothing happening just yet.
Yeah, and I see we've seen over now. This is our 3rd map being played tonight. Insidious are just happy to sit back and let the timer run out, and Lethality just aren't pushing hard enough to make a proper attack within the time that they have, and it has cost them dearly many times, as we see Salty getting the pixel peak, just clipping the hitbox of Kinga's head. That will be the top fragger for Insidious down now. Coming in, we have less than a minute left.
Yeah, and the spray is going down that hallway, not able to find anything, and we do see a meetup once again, but it is TBC coming out on top, taking out Hyper. That Thatcher again dropping Hyper. Like I said in the last one, he's had the shortest life expectancy of all attackers so far, as we see Apples picking up Salty as he tried to get in on Arsenal through that hatch. It is a 1v4 right now. Redmeister is pretty low, so it's almost a 1 versus 3.2, if that. But Orbit, can he do enough? He's got 2 kills already in this game, and we've seen that hallway there be rough for them. Orbit takes up the head of TVC. He's now in a 1v3. He sees them at the end of the hallway, but it is Sparked picking up that kill, and Insidious go back-to-back rounds like they did in the last map.
Yeah. Lethality just struggling to find their rhythm. These last 2 maps we've seen, they get some picks, they open up some walls, they look as if they might be able to do something, but it all falls apart, usually at the hand of Kingers and TVC. So it'll be, again, if they can just perhaps play it a bit slower, play a bit more strategically, and for God's sakes, use their drones a bit more, they might be able to pull out a round win.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the utility there in the drones, obviously. Why not use it, and why not try to figure out as much as you can? We see Orbit and TVC both leading the frags for both their teams, but obviously it is a much closer spread. Spark here and Apple's doing a lot more work than the other members of Lethality. So, I mean, as much as Orbit is putting in the hard work, it's really a team game, and if his team can't step up and match the work that he is putting in, I don't know if they can close it out. They looked great in map 1, but map 2 was disappointing. So far, they have yet to do much in map 3, but we are heading to Gym Bedroom up on that 2nd floor, and will it be enough? They had the Thatcher online, so that hard breach is going to be available there. I just got a question. Have Lethality got what it takes to stem the flow of bleeding that they have been suffering so far and take a round back for themselves?
Well, we'll see this round as we see a very traditional setup opening up that interconnecting wall between the bomb sites, making it very hard for anyone to get in without having their ankles completely shattered by lead. Interesting that we see the Vigil Kingers again. Will we go for the peak? I think will be a question to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some success in that position, looking for those early peaks onto the map, and no, he's going to give it up. He's not looking for anything at the moment. They're going to play it safe, which has been their play style so far on defense. They take it slow, they hold the angles, which has been working for them, whereas we saw the over-aggressiveness of Lethality just being punished time and time again, and I mean, it's working for them, and it probably will continue working if they maintain this level of consistency.
Yep. As we come into this round now, again, a heavy roll. Insidious, the Jaeger of Redmeister, not TVC on the Jaeger anymore, looking to hold those back stairs.
Yeah, and it will just be a slow start here. I mean, we have yet to see anyone looking to go aggressively. I say that as Danzig blows open that castle window, and Salty is in office there, blowing open that wall with the what's his name? That's the one, Sledgehammer. Sorry, it's a bit late for me. It is just after 10 o'clock in the evening. It has been a long day, all said and done. A long couple of days for casting for me. It's my 3rd day in a row, so my brain does get a bit muddled here.
Yeah. As we see now, Tsundere perhaps looking to get a frag finally in this map. He's contesting Garage. And Lethality are taking it slow, which has worked out for them because they've had minimal losses as Salty gets the kill onto Spark now. He's playing construction. He's cut off the rotate upstairs. We see the effective use of those castle barricades as a utility, so as TVC gets the pick off onto Salty. Even Stevens now coming into the final minute of this round.
Yeah, the free frag there onto Salty, who did get that initial pick. But, I mean, this is the slowest we have seen Lethality play in this series so far. And maybe, they just said, hold on, we need to take it easy. The level of aggression we've been putting into this. Kinga picks up another kill on Dancer, gets traded out. TVC picks up the kill onto Orbit. And a 2v3 currently Hyper being dropped by Apples. And again, we find ourselves in a 3v1. The over-aggression didn't work. And now we find ourselves in a position where the slow play hasn't worked as well. Redmeister finds that kill onto Tsundere, and 3 rounds in a row in Game 3 of our first series of the night, Sam. It's not looking good for Lethality.
No, it's not. I think same thing again. They can't find that balance. They've tried being hyper aggressive, and they've tried playing very passive, as we just saw. And put simply, it's not working. Their top fraggers, which I think they've grown a bit reliant on Tsundere and Danzig, just aren't pulling their weight at the moment. So we'll see the rotate back to a CCTV cache defense for Insidious.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this is a team game. You want your entire team to be speaking up. Yeah, you've got different roles and different players, but there has been emphasis on being able to facilitate multiple roles on that one player. So, being a support player is great and all, and denying the rotate and getting that information, but you also need to be able to pick up the frags and go in hard when you're called upon. And it's just not a balanced team style that we are seeing out of Lethality right now.
Exactly, and it poses the question, were they overconfident after their easy win on Villa? Did they perhaps get a bit cocky, a bit arrogant, and perhaps fail to see the true potential of Insidious, which of course we are seeing in their absolute dominance?
Yeah, I mean, dominance, I suppose, is the right word, but it purely comes off the back of very, very poor play out of Lethality. They're constantly looking in the wrong spots for frags. They're constantly going in aggressively without first picking up that information. And we are going to see that Valkyrie picked up here by Spark, looking to set those eyes up and get some information around this clubhouse as well. Capital, also a new pickup for Lethality, going on to Orbit, who currently still leading the frags for his team. And Sandre, again, yet to show up on an attacking side.
Yeah, so because Lethality haven't brought that IQ, it will severely hinder their efforts to seek out those Valkyrie cameras, which is just more intel for Insidious. And as you said, the Capital, he brings a lot of utility for the attackers. He has those 2 smoke grenades and he has those 2 firebolts, one of which I think we just heard get fired off. Crucial in opening up that east wall of cache.
Oh, I think Sparked may have given himself away. He threw the camera there. It did land onto the barricade, but they don't know he's there. He's lying prone on the ground. He may have spotted out the rappel here. He could potentially pick himself up a frag if given the opportunity. He sees the pixel. He's getting a spray out. It's not quite enough. Salty just getting away, and it is unfortunately not going to be enough. He was in a prime position to get a kill, but unfortunately doesn't find it.
That MPX is just a pea shooter. Unless you're getting those headshots, as you saw, it just doesn't do enough damage to get the kill. Thermite of Hyper now playing very forward lounge, perhaps looking to flush out this Valkyrie sitting in the garage. As he gets tagged, though, from the stairs, he's getting pincer maneuvered.
Yeah, a bit of lag there, so I couldn't quite see what was happening, but King is backing onto the cams. He is in those back stairs as well, and in position to potentially contest any form of aggression. Sandre picking up an opening kill, the first of the game for him so far onto TBC, one of the most impactful players in Insidious. King trades out. It is Sandre dropping by apples as well. Hyper gets a kill on the Sparks, but we find ourselves again in a position where things are even up going into the later stages of this game. It will be actually no, they've dropped more as we have a bit of lag again, and it is Salty and Hyper left alone versus the 3 of Insidious. King is Apples and Redmeister. Some of the standouts so far. King is again getting another double kill in this map. Hyper left all alone on the Thermite, looking for an angle. Does duck and try to find something. Gets sprayed at by Redmeister. Is forced to back away. He's looking aggressive, going through that doorway, trying to find a pick if he can. It is Redmeister standing on the other side of the doorway. The spray coming out, and Redmeister will clean up Hyper. And it's so unfortunate. Time and time again, we see things start all right. They lose a couple of members, and then it just snowballs out of control in Insidious's favor. And this is almost the exact opposite. We saw Lethality playing dominantly in map 1, and now it's Insidious in full control of Clubhouse.
Absolutely, and I think it comes down to a bit of luck as well. For the last 2 maps, those maps that they have won quite decisively, they've started on defense. They've had those opening rounds with the safety of defense, and I think it's paid off. As we see with all the stats coming in from Ubisoft, defensive side is the side you want to be if you want to win. We see a bit of an operator change up here, though, for Lethality. Hyper using the 6th pick to switch from Twitch to Thermite.
Yeah, and you can see definitely from the scoreboard, top 3 fraggers for Insidious all have 5 kills. They have been heavily involved in the defense process for the first half of Clubhouse right now. 4-0 going into round 5, and I mean, just they haven't found anything that has worked for them. We've gone back down to base with another bomb site that Lethality struggled to get into. And it's been rough, and they've got to figure something out quickly, because otherwise they could be completely shut out of this map.
Absolutely. We see again the picks of Valkyrie, Kaid, Jaeger, and Maestro, but instead of the Bandit this time, King is again taking one of his favorites, Vigil. I think he might go for a spawn peak this time. You know, they're 4 rounds up. Not a lot to lose from it. And it would just be a bit of a nice bonus on top of an already exceptional by Insidious.
Yeah, and it looks like exactly what he is going for. The man, they've got a lot of room to work with, just like you said. Why not go for some cheeky plays, look to gather an advantage? And I mean, surely, again, it's unexpected. Yeah, there's potential for runouts, but the way that things have been going, Kinga hasn't done it in a while, and surely it has left the minds of Lethality.
Surely. As we see now, the attackers making their way. King is peeking out on Jacuzzi. No one to be found. And control of Barrage and stock has already been taken by Lethality, with the hatch being opened up. We see there, I think it's the Kaid just hiding behind blue box. Kingers, however, gets the opening pick of the round onto Xander. Xander we went falling off his so hard, and Red Mice get another pick onto Danstick.
It has just been clinical the way that Insidious have been finding these frags in and around the map. 5v3 currently. Danstick and Sandre, the two more impactful players for this Lethality side, already dropped another spray coming out from King as he has found another member of Lethality here. Takes a bit of damage from the frag, looking for another one into that entry, exit rather, out of garage. Is in garage and will find the kill on Assault. He flips, tries to find himself another one in that other entry. The garage finds the bullet holes into orbit as well. Triple for Kingers right now, and that breach Hobbit Hyper will trade him out. Going in aggressively from CCTV, picks up the diffuser. It is all on him, a 1v4. We have seen the situation time and time again, Sam.
Indeed, we have. And I think these the shortcomings of Lethality are coming down to the gunfights and coming down to their mechanical skill. We saw that that contest there between Salty and Kingers. Salty with the ACOG and a great gun in the L85 should have won that engagement, but he missed his shots and Kingers was able to capitalize and get the better shot. As we see now, spraying down from Moto, Hyper hasn't got, he has got a lot of time left, but he hasn't got a lot of health personnel left with him.
Yeah, and Lethality not playing in a position where they can look for these refrags. They're rather spread out when they are making their way into the building and onto sites. They're not looking to cover those crossfires. They're not looking to set up positions where, you know, if one member does go down, they have someone backing them up to clean things up. And it will be the bounce peak out of TVC. Hyper cleans that one up. A double kill for him. Still a 3v1 though, so a monumental amount of effort has to be put in for him to pick up this round. Apples is there with that big bad machine gun. Sparked and Redmeister positioning around these bomb sites, looking at those angles, setting up those crossfires that I was talking about. So if we see a peek out, he looks to Moto, not going to find anything. There is the big bad machine gun cleaning up the kill. Apples closing out round 5, and it's just a shutout at the moment, Sam.
Absolutely. It's just a repeat. We're not even seeing new rounds at this point, just replays of old ones. Lethality need to make some serious changes if they want to stay in this game. Round 6 now coming to the end of the defensive half for Insidious. Will they be able to claw it back with the advantage of the defensive side?
Well, I mean, we've seen them making changes. That is the thing, as we see the Ying being hovered here by Orbit. I'm pretty sure it has one of the lowest pick rates, as well as the Glaz. One of the lowest pick rates in high-level play as it is. I mean, it's great and all, but it can be countered so easily by the Jaeger. And, I mean, yeah, despite all these changes, nothing seems to be working for them. At this point, they've got to be getting desperate, which is why we see these picks here. And it will be Ying and Glaz locked in. That's unconventional.
Yeah, understatement of the year, I think. There, unconventional is the right way to go. They don't have any smokes, or unless the Glaz has taken smoke, so they will be able to capitalize on that with his reworked thermal scope. But how effective that will be on the gym bedroom defense, well, Lethality will have to prove their worth.
And we are starting to see the initial setup by the defense. King is back on that Vigil as well. The man has been a right nuisance. He's 8-2-4, leading the frags in this game. And I just have to question, is there comeback potential? Because as much life as was shown by this Lethality side on map 1, taking that 7-2 on Villa, They have just had it drained out of them, going down 7-4 in the Consulate, and now finding themselves down 5-0 on Clubhouse, the decider map. It's got to be affecting them.
Oh, you'd think it would be. We see again the pick of Castle, the pick of Jaeger, Smoke, Bandit, and Vigil. King is again on the Vigil, wreaking so much havoc. And to be honest, being a bit of a pain in the ass of Lethality, forcing them to check their corners and just getting those frags, those ever-important frags.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a game style of, 4 teammates and then one dude. It's like playing with, your group of 3 mates and then just one random gets queued up with you. Sunderay's on a different page right now. He's not playing as a cohesive team player. He's looking for those rotates. He's always off on his own. He is offering very little to his team right now.
Yeah. And it might be justifiable if he was getting those picks like he was in the first map, just like Danstick has onto Kingers, but he's not. He's not getting those picks. All he's doing is dying. As we've seen that spray, peeking, Apples gets the shot off onto Hyper. It's a 4v4 now. Not sure what Apples was doing. Hyper was doing, trying to push that.
Well, I mean, he made his way onto site with those smoke grenades. A spray coming out of Salty, who did spot Apples there, who wasn't quite paying attention to the flank. The camera will be finished off, so Salty on that Ash, aggressively pushing in. It will be TVC all alone trying to help there. The C4 goes out, and he gets the kill onto Salty as Salty aims for the battery. Just baited out by that Bandit battery. Not a great form there out of Salty. It's really rough to see. He had the potential to take down TVC because he is so low. As we see the spray coming out of Redmeister in onto that bomb site, they're just throwing bullets left and right. Redmeister picks up the kill into orbit as TVC gets traded out. It wasn't a huge invested by Sunderay, as we will see the stair play. Sunderay gets another one onto Redmeister. It is a double kill for him, a 1v2. This is the first time we've seen Lethality take an advantage and use it.
Well, I think we just saw that in the switch up of operators, like we said in the pick phase. We saw the Ying, we saw the Glaz. Very unconventional. But clearly it is working out for Lethality because they've won their first attacking round. As we now see the switch of teams over, it will be Lethality in their first defense round on CCTV and the cash defense.
Yeah, we see that bucket being picked up as Apples, unfortunately, has left the game, so we might be looking for a rehost here. It's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, it does look like we'll be going to a rehost, I think. Just waiting to hear back from the producer to figure out what's going on, as we see. Yeah, okay, so what we'll be doing is throwing it to a quick break, get this rehost sorted, and we'll bring you all back to it. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back momentarily with Game 3 of Series 1 of Day 2.
What you finna do? Defense, I'll buy it if I want it. I'm going supersonic, come on, back for it. Alright, okay. Running out of luck, too much in my cup. Nishi, run it up. Why you always tripping like you top? Cause you not my team pop. Shorty, I know. Why you always tripping like you top? Cause you not my team pop. My team pop. Who really got the block, Sipping to rock in a cop car, They say they wanna party with us 12 X and how much be that poofy, it's a la, My feature price bigger than your bank account. You talk about it, but don't show us that about. These boys only flexing with that allowance. We swimming in the down. I'm only f***ing you if your toes cute. Brown skin, goddamn, that's my soul food. I'm winning for the record, check your memo, bro. Generation of destruction, you'll remember us. LSD used to do promethazine. I'm only THC, NSC is my new lean. We no longer up next on top. Like your girl, when she counting my checks. There's no defense, I'll buy it if I want it. I'm going supersonic, come on, back for it. Alright, okay. Running out of luck, too much in my cup. Nishi, run it up. Why you always tripping like you top? Cause you not my team pop. Shorty, I know. Why you always tripping like you top? Cause you not my team pop. My team pop.
you know I'm a bad little mama. I got moves like Madonna. Don't tell me cause I move when I'm gonna. I'm not afraid to lose, I am a prima donna. Don't you see, I'm a winner, I'm a queen. I cause no scene if you work with me. Don't stop me cause I fight when I wanna. I'm not afraid to lose, I am a prima donna.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. All we know is ball to empty out the mouths. The chosen one they call, I take my fan with me. Know about it if you tell, know you're breaking codes. But your credibility and all fall like dominoes. Can you really take a stance? All I wanna know. Need me real ones when it's time to go. Stepping in, elevator. This is to all the haters. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. I found out I'm not alone, 'cause I'm just like you. We are fearless when we fight and not afraid to level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
I was running road so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. Is it such a ghostly revelation? I may have fucked up all my chances.
And we ain't sleeping on the floor again. We never sleeping on the floor again. For the ones who didn't make it out, for the ones that didn't see the light, for the ones that never cared, never gave a thought, found no happiness in that brand new car or the house you bought. I see you talking about the love you lost, and it was gone like way before you ever thought it was. Yeah, I took my time, no quick ones, quick run, quick gas to get back there. Hot roads, I didn't think I'd come back fierce, 'cause
I was running roads so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. Is it such a ghostly revelation? I may have fucked up all my chances.
It's easy, it's hard to preach, 'cause I've been burning trees and watching fall. If we cannot breathe out, we go forward. Sure, I was searching for cure, fishing a little wildlife. And when I'm low on fuel, I'll still be running till my back broke. Halfway, lost hope and I checked it. Hard roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast, 'cause I was running roads so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. Ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances.
been around the globe, looked around, nothing fitted. Seen high and end but the road, and you won't even get it. Been around the globe, looked around, not to fit it. Seen high and lows, but you won't even get it. Been around the globe, think it's time to admit it's not the end but the road. I was running. Road so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up zero. This is such a ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances. Fucked up all my chances. Yes, I was running. I know. Sarah, I hurt myself today trying to make the pain go away. Sarah, I want to fade away, be with the stars in outer space. You come and you go, you take me high, you take me low. But I don't know how to do this on my own anymore. Oh no, now it's my leave for the melancholy. Couldn't fill a hole inside me. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Now it's Xannies till I numb my psyche. Cocaine just to feel my heartbeat. Nothing to lose, nothing to gain.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We are. Unfortunately, Apple's had a bit of a disconnect issue. He fell off the tree and wasn't able to play. So we had a bit of a rehost. We're coming back into things. And I'm definitely excited to see what happens. We find ourselves on map 3 of our first series between Insidious and Lethality. Lethality took the first map, while the commandingly second map did go to Insidious. And now we find ourselves in a position where Insidious is 5-1 up, Sam. It has been rough for sure for Lethality. With switching the halves, is this going to be enough for Lethality to even things up?
Well, I guess we'll see. Xandere has now the opportunity to go back to his favourite operator, Jaeger. And we saw him so effective on Villa, struggled a bit more on Consulate, but we did see it in the dying rounds. I think Orbit accidentally choosing the Tachanka, perhaps a tactical pick.
I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be that 6th pick change out here. I would be very surprised. I mean, some teams do opt for some interesting strategies, and Tachanka could be one of them, and it is looking like it could be stuck in. And it is going to be a Tachanka for the first defend round for Lethality. They find themselves in a rough spot. Maybe, this out there pick could be the thing that swings momentum back in their way.
Absolutely. We see the buck being brought as well. Again, definitely less vertical play than Consulate here on Clubhouse. But the cash room is one of the fewer sites that can benefit from a buck. Breaching from below, taking out those bandit boxes on the east wall, and allowing Thermite to do his job effectively.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to see some pretty standard stuff aside from that Tachanka, and the setup will be there. The real question I have to ask is, where is Orbit going to stick himself? Will it be effective? Because I mean, he's not quite reworked yet, and I mean, reworked Tachanka is looking pretty scary. This turret is only so effective. They have found a pretty decent spot for it to sit, though, protecting those vulnerable legs, which is usually Tachanka's biggest problem. We are getting into the round, and the attackers are looking. It is Xandere sitting aggressively in the tunnel, looking for an early pick. This is exactly his playstyle, and it is potentially going to be a kill here on the Kinga. It is the top frag, unfortunately. Oh no, he gets caught out. That's Xandere gone. And Kinga is just going to have free control over this basement. He's going to be coming in from below, which is where you said he wanted to be. That shotgun, the skeleton key, going to be opening up those floors once he gets onto the ground floor, being an absolute menace from below. We see the thermite going out, and I mean, that was so rough.
I'm not even angry at this point. I'm just disappointed in Xandere. We know he has the mechanical skills to win those gunfights, but for whatever reason, perhaps he's got a cramp in his hand or something, he just cannot land those shots. That was an easy kill for him to get. Should have been a great pick for him, great start to the round, and he couldn't get it. As we see the plant now from Apples, very adventurous. Does he get it down? TVC gets the kill, Hyper gets the trade back on TVC, and the plant is down now. It's all up. Redmeister gets the pick onto Salty. 4v2. It's going to be Orbit and Hyper left to clutch out this round and defuse the bomb, or rather, break the diffuser.
Yeah, I mean, it is Orbit being traded out. Redmeister picking up the double. It's all up to Hyper. He is on the ground floor. He is at those back stairs, and unfortunately, he is about to get... No, he actually picks up that down onto Spark. A triple for Hyper in this round. A 1v2 currently. He's looking, trying to pick it up. The diffuser, 10 seconds left. He's getting sprayed down. He's only got the pistol, trying to pick up that kill, and it will be Redmeister cleaning it up. A 6th round on the board for Insidious. You hate to see it. From start to finish, it was just unfortunate mistakes out of Lethality.
A battle of the Pete. Oh, King is talking a bit of smack in the chat. He is so bad. I think it would be quite funny if Insidious lose the next round. However, it's match point now. It's 6-1. Honestly, the chances of Lethality clawing back a win, pretty much nil.
I mean, we have seen stranger things in esports. I mean, I have these examples I could bring up, but not necessarily translating into Rainbow Six. But I mean, there is potential. We've seen Xandere pop off to the point where he solo carried almost an entire half for his team, and it was on the defense. We have seen him switch out onto the Vigil, though, so more of a sneak king is going to be playing out of that basement area. It will be Church and Arsenal. So will this be the round that Lethality break, or will Insidious close this saga out and finish things off? Salty on the castle, Orbit on the Mozzie. Xandere on the Vigil is going to be the one to watch. He has yet to get a kill in this game. In fact, the only one with kills on Lethality is Hyper right now.
Oh my, as we see there, Castle, the Salty, has actually opened up the bar hatch, looking down onto Moto. So it looks like they will be aiming to hold and looking to hold that top floor and waste the attacker's time, which, as we all know, is probably why a decent amount of teams fail to win on attack, because they let that timer run down. It's almost like a 6th operator for the defensive team. They can rely on it so heavily.
Yeah, I mean, not only are you battling into 5 defensive operators, you are battling the clock as well. As we see Xandere setting up a bit of a sneaky play into that bathroom. And I mean, he potentially was going to look for a peek, but we are getting into things. Drones are coming out aggressively from the attackers. Apple's already in blue. Kingers finds the first pick onto Hyper. That is the Legion gone, so no Goo Mines. They are already in on the site so far. Danstick, Salty does pick up the kill onto Danstick. Unfortunately, Kingers does kill Orbit at 4v2, and it looks like it is all over for Lethality. This has gone from bad to worse from them in this series. I don't know if they can do anything to bring this back, Sam.
Not sure what happened there as Xandere pushes in, gets 1, gets 2 now. Even Stevens, but they've still got to go for the diffuser. I think they just weren't watching blue at that time, and Insidious just waltzed in as the Goo Mine gets hit. Will they go for the diffuse? Will they go for the frags? Peking Xandere, here we go. We see the skill. He gets the 3rd, but Redmeister gets the pick. Xandere loses the fact, and that is the series, Panda.
Xandere was a hair away from clutching out that round. He got a triple. It was almost clean. He went for the diffuse, decided to stick it, went in for the rotate, and unfortunately got cleaned up there. And Redmeister, the MVP for this map, and Insidious taking it out in commanding fashion, 7-1 in map 3.
Well, we saw it. When he was put under the pump, Xandere was able to get those picks, but it just was too little, too late.
Yeah, I mean, showing up too late is unfortunately somewhat of a curse in esports around the world, and we will be finishing out the series. It does go to Insidious in the end. Hard fought, hard won, despite losing out their map pick 7-2 to Lethality. They took it cleanly in map 2 and 3, 7-4 and 7-1 respectively.
So the stats, that was it.
And it's so rough to see. Sandre, I mean, we saw him end the first half of map 1 with 13 odd kills or something crazy like that. Maybe not quite that high, but I know he put on a massive performance on the defense side. And he took a while to warm up in map 2, and then he didn't even show up in map 3. In fact, the entirety of Lethality barely showed up in map 3, and it was only in the dying round that we saw, Sandre pick up 3 kills. It was largely on the shoulders of Orbit, who did most of that work for the Lethality side. It's just so rough to see, but it will be Insidious picking up that work.
Yeah. I think Apples there from Insidious was probably the unsung hero of this series. I think throughout the whole, he wasn't overly exceptional, but he was constantly getting picks, playing the utility, and doing work to deny the round win for Lethality, and it shows because they won.
Well, that's the big thing. He was consistent. He was incredibly consistent despite having that issue with his internet. He was holding his angles. He was holding his position, playing that Maestro spectacularly on Consulate, and it was enough for them to take things over the edge. So what we will be doing now is we do have another series after this one. It is going to be Undefined versus Downfall, but we are going to chuck it to a quick break. There will be some replays of that game for you guys to check out and watch, but we'll be back with the second series of tonight.
I don't know how to do this on my own anymore. Oh no, now it's leave for the melancholy. Cody, feel a hole inside me. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Now it's Zanny, still I know my psyche. Cocaine just to feel my heartbeat. Nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Sarah. You thought that I was blind, but to be honest, I don't mind. Cause I don't feel the same way I used to do. Every time I see you, I know the truth. Cause baby, every fucking time you've played me, you should know that I don't give a single fuck about you and your words. All the times you lied to me, bitch, I took notes. I don't know what to say. I thought you loved me, but you are away.